And I told you.
What did they ask you? I'm going to ask somebody else. Don't stick in something. I'm trying to increase the size. There we go. Now I can see. You can increase your size. I've already done that. It's at 56 and I've already moved it up to 125. 125 is the magic number. That is for me. I think my eyes aren't as bad as yours. Actually, read that one. All right. Ready? I'm ready. Okay, we're going to get started this evening. Is that loud? Sounds loud. Mike is out of town, so I'll be filling in for him this evening. And we'll start tonight with an invocation from Dr. Rollins.
Welcome. Let's pray together. Dear God, we thank you for all the blessings that you provide to each of us. We thank you as teachers and principals, and as moms and dads and board members, and as the superintendent for the privilege to work with the young people of this district. We thank you for our school partners, especially our parents and our business leaders and district patrons who partner with us in every imaginable way to serve our kids. We're thankful for all those many, many blessings. We pray that you be with us this evening and help us focus our work on the needs of our children. We ask all these things in thy name. Amen.
Okay, Carly Reed, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so we will officially call our meeting to order. Thank you guys for being here. And at this point, I'd like to have, if you have had a chance to look at the agenda for tonight, you've had it for a few days. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
I believe the agenda would stand as presented, Mr. Williams.
Okay, with that, I would ask for a motion to approve our minutes for this evening.
Motion approved.
Motion from Mr. Owenby. Second? Second from Ms. Cook. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We've also had a few days to review the minutes from our previous meeting of May the 13th. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The minutes from the last meeting are approved. I'll turn it over to, I guess at this point, ask for any comments from any patrons that would like to comment on anything. Have to remind you that we can't take any official action this evening, but we'd love to hear your comments if you have any. Okay. So we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. Dr. Rollins.
Yes, it's a pleasure, board, for me to invite Carly Reed to come back to our microphone. Carly's our representative from the Archer Learning Center, and on page 15, board, there's a summary of information about Carly, and we thank you for being here this evening. It's a pleasure, As you can see, she's a junior at the Archer Learning Center. Her parent is Kimberly Reed. She's an honor roll student. She's enrolled in Algebra 2, Sociology, English 12, and Economics, and expects to graduate in 2015 and to attend college after graduation. She's an outstanding student and contributes greatly to the Archer Learning Center. Welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you. Can I say something?
Sure. Just talk with us about your school year or anything that you'd like to share with the board.
My name is Carly, and my mom, Kimberly, couldn't be here this morning, but she really wanted to. And sorry that she couldn't make it. She was working. But I just wanted to say that this is an amazing school. We have great teachers, and I think they care about us so much. And it's a great opportunity to go to ALE. And I want to thank Mr. Green for being such a great principal. Because all of us, we have a lot of potential and willpower, just like all the rest of the kids. And we're no different. We have dreams and we have goals too.
Kimberly, what are your plans this summer? What are you doing this summer?
I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to go on a trip with the family or something. I'm not really planning on doing something big this summer. But next summer, I plan on going to college. So,
Do you know where you want to go yet?
I wanted to go to NWAC actually because I like the community colleges better than the big colleges, and I figured that if I do that, if I change my mind later, I can go to a state university.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Do you work?
Huh?
Do you work?
Yes, I work at English Jack.
And what now?
English Jack, it's a
Oh, yeah.
yeah, not big, but
No, but good.
Do you have any idea what you want to study in college? I know you're a year away, but
I actually wanted to do culinary art school. I wanted to have my own restaurant or
Cool.
something. I wanted to own my own business, have my own, not just work there.
good go. Good go.
Well, I was so impressed when we came and had lunch with you and your group the other day, and just the passion and how much you love your school and the environment you have over there. It was very impressive to me, and I think you guys are doing a great job over there, and wish you a lot of luck in the future.
Thank you, and all of our students, we're so passionate. We really are. We really want to progress and move forward. And sometimes we have this bad reputation that, ALE is the bad kids, but it's really not. If you give it a chance, all the kids, they're so sweet. We treat each other like family. It's a great environment.
And you guys clearly communicated that to us when we were there. It was just very refreshing. It was obvious how much you cared for each other, and it was just a really neat environment. And it was nice to see how proud you guys were of being there. So
I'm a very proud Archer student. So.
thank you.
And all of us are bad kids every now and then.
That's true.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. Group, we graduated 120. I'd lost the number for a moment. 120 graduates from the ALE this year. We're going to do even better than that next year, aren't we? We'll have hopefully even more students graduating.
We've been looking through applications already.
That's beautiful.
And you can see students like Carly, how easy it is to come to work every day. Just, students that shine and just make you proud. So thank you, Dr. Rollins.
Thank you.
You invited us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, let me invite our Associate Superintendent, Mr. Clay Hendricks, to the microphone. And Board, he has a number of recognitions, but starting with Springdale's nominee for the Arkansas Teacher of the Year.
Vice President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Rollins, it's my honor to recognize Mr. Josh Worthy, who is the East Facilitator at Sonora Elementary School, as the 2014-2015 Springdale School District Teacher of the Year. He is now the Springdale nominee for the State Teacher of the Year recognition. And certainly we are supporting him in that way, in that endeavor, every way that we can. A few things about Josh. Josh is a graduate of Springdale High School, class of 2000. He is a K-12 Springdale student, Tyson Elementary, Southwest Junior High, and Springdale High School. So he's a Springdale guy. He was able to speak to the board as a student, and now he gets to speak to the board as a teacher, so he's kind of made the circle there. His wife Jennifer is also a graduate of Springdale School District, and she's also a K-12 student of Springdale, and she teaches at Sonora as well. Band was Josh's main event when he was in high school, and a few days ago I got to go out to Sonora to the surprise celebration where they recognized Josh. Dr. Morlich got to recognize Josh as the Springdale Teacher of the Year, and he didn't know that, and it was some type of fun dress-up day.
Decades celebration.
It was decades celebration. And so Josh comes up to receive his Springdale School District Teacher of the Year in his band jacket from high school. And so anyway, additionally about Josh, his students won the prestigious Tim Stevenson Founders Award for East for this year, and they were the first elementary school to do so, and so that was a great honor for that school and for Josh. So please recognize Mr. Josh Worthy as the Springdale 2014-2015 Teacher of the Year.
All right.
That's pretty cool. That's just the best way I can put it. I'm not a guy of glamorous words or anything, but that's pretty cool. It's been an amazing year. I think this is the third or fourth time I've gotten to come and talk to you guys about stuff we're doing in class, and it's like I said, to be able to stand in front of the board as a student, and now to do it as a teacher. Now, as a student, it was back in the flat building at Springdale High School. To do it as a teacher now, it's a great community. It's a great home, and I feel very blessed to have the privilege to teach in Springdale. We've done a lot of things this year. The kids have been amazing. They're a big part of this achievement. I mean, I get to hang out with the kids all day, and you guys pay me to do it. So I'm actually winning on the deal. So you guys don't realize how much fun it is. When I did spend a lot of my time in the Springdale High School band under the direction of Pat Ellison, which it was a great 3 years, and I learned a lot of character traits and life lessons in that band program. And Miss Ellison and Mr. Robinson both kind of had their own opinions about trophies and plaques and accolades, and that's not really why we do it. We don't do the East thing for Founders Awards. We don't do the teacher thing for trophies, but they are important. I mean, it's a piece of wood that over time it'll deteriorate, but there is some really big importance here, and it's not the title, it's not the name even on it, but it's the smallest print on the entire plaque. It's the year. What I'm going to take from this is 2014 was an amazing year. The memories that were made for these kids, the partnerships we had in the community, the growth that occurred with these kids. That's what I'm going to take from this, is that big 2014. It was an amazing year, and it's contagious. I'm really pleased that the district administration has the faith that East is a good thing. And think about it, 3 years ago we had 2 East programs, and the idea of adding it to an elementary school, and that they hadn't done that in a whole lot of times. I mean, they had a couple of elementary schools that had East, but why would you want to do that with an elementary school? And now, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have 9 East programs with more on the way. It's just, I'm so blessed and so proud to be a part of this story that's starting to unfold very rapidly in Springdale. And I think a lot of it's the leadership that we have here. To have the vision several years ago that Common Core is coming, and this East thing fits really well. We need to try that, and I'm having a whole lot of fun. It almost doesn't seem fair to be able to say I'm having this much fun.
Josh, you've been here in front of us several times over the years, and it's always amazing to see your kids come in and the enthusiasm.
They speak so much better than I do too, so I kind of like it when they take the stage.
Well, it's obvious how much they care about you, and you care about them, and the enthusiasm.
I will say I'm really passionate about East. I taught in the regular classroom for 6 years, and I really enjoyed it as a history teacher. But with history, it doesn't change a whole lot. And East is different every single day, and I think I've been really lucky to find something I'm passionate about, and a program and a pedagogy that I'm passionate about. I've been very lucky.
Thank you.
Josh, your family here tonight, can you introduce them?
Yes. And see, this thing, I'm not even the best teacher in my house, so that would go to my wife, who's over here, and our daughter, who's playing on the iPhone. My mom is here as well as my mother-in-law, so Vivian and Linda, they're here as well.
Can they stand so we can all?
Stand up, guys.
Interrupted her iPhone time.
Josh, it's really interesting, as I heard you reference your days in the band at Springdale High School, and I think back to all those special moments, and you're so right, those who led the program in those days, their emphasis was to help the children find the music that was in them, and I see you doing that very same thing in the classroom today, to really help these children find out who they are and who they can become, and see them build confidence. I think all of us will forever be so impressed by what we've seen your students be able to do. And I know they're only going to get better and stronger in the future. Talk to the board for just a moment about this experience that they've been invited to have this summer in San Diego and so forth.
Dr. Stuman's going to pass out a little bit of information that you guys can check out. But our students, specifically to Ricky and Kylie, who you guys have seen, they're the great speakers for when we achieved the Founders Award. They, myself, and a couple of parents, and Dr. Stuman, are going to be traveling to San Diego in about a month to present at the International Esri User Conference, which Esri is the worldwide leading software producer of GIS software. So they make maps, they make videos of different things. They're what make the GPS in your car work, and they're big in city planning and census data and things like that. Once upon a time, it was believed 5 to 10 years ago, to use this software, you had to have a graduate level degree, a college graduate level degree. And it fascinates them that kids statewide in East programs are able to use this software without any trouble whatsoever. A couple of YouTube tutorials. And it really blew their mind when a couple of 8-year-olds were using it to make a map for Walmart or Camp Alliance, or even to show their weather balloon travel across 4 different states. And so the girls and myself will be the keynote for the education portion of that conference, which will be in front of about 15,000 live people, which scares me to death. And so I'm glad I just introduce them and the girls do a live demonstration. They're going to be using a software called Story Maps, which is a software to display these maps that is web-based, and so anybody in the room could use it. But they take their data that they have at our home computer in our classroom and display it there, which is really exciting because Esri just donated, or they just pledged $1 billion to national education to make this software available coast to coast, K through 12th grade on every computer. I think President Barack Obama mentioned it about a week and a half ago at an address. And so the girls are kind of leading up, showing, hey, this can be used in education, whether you're short, whether you're tall, and it's solving problems in the community. And I think the purpose of this conference, 15,000 users as well as many, many more worldwide will be viewing But kind of the idea is to show that the professionals can push into the classroom and teach the kids this career, this geospatial science. It's a growing career right now. If you graduate with a bachelor's degree, there's 2 jobs for every 1 graduate, almost 3. People have called us asking our girls, how do we use this? And they've gone beyond what I can teach them. And some people have even offered to contract them out. I'm like, guys, they're 9. I don't know if they give worker permits to 9-year-olds. So it's just amazing to see the possibilities that are going on, and it's going to be really cool to showcase that on such a large stage. It's just it snowballs. It's just getting bigger and bigger. We've created a monster. So it's very cool.
It's cool.
Your principal tells me you're going to let her go with you.
Yeah, Dr. Schumann's going to go. She's lived in California before, and I've never been to California, so I'm terrified of earthquakes. So we'll see.
You need board representation?
Just
We should go.
so away. You'll be fine. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Josh, you recognizing the other teacher in your home, you're showing wisdom beyond your years.
No comment.
Josh, we're so proud of you, both for being the Springdale School District Teacher of the Year and for the accomplishments of your students, and really the invitation to present at this international conference. It's a tremendous opportunity to impact those children for the rest of their lives and you as well. So.
I'm really excited. At the Arkansas Teacher of the Year thing, it's an honor to represent home, and we're gonna be wearing our Arkansas red in San Diego and try to make the area proud.
Thank you, Josh.
Good job.
Thank you.
We have some people I need to recognize. If the representatives from J.O. Kelly would come forward, and if someone was able to make it from George Junior High School. I know they had a parent meeting tonight. I'm pleased to announce to you that J.O. Kelly Middle School and George Junior High School received the 2014 Support Music Merit Award presented by the National Association of Music Merchants. Only 96 schools in the nation received this award. Over 2,000 applied for this award. And to be eligible for this award, I'm going to read you this list of things that you must have done just to illustrate to you how difficult it is. But the schools must have high levels of student achievement. They must offer daily music class to students. They must be targeting 100% of the school's population to be involved in music. The district curriculum must support with inclusion and in graduation requirements. Must have support for students' involvement in music programs by the administration and the school board. A commitment to school music programs through district funding. Facilities supporting specific student needs for music learning. And community support for music. So I'm just so pleased to be able to announce that J.O. Kelly Middle School and George Junior High School have received these awards and recognize these folks that are here on behalf of their schools.
Paul Harvey used to say, and then there's the rest of the story to this. Miss Bingston has introduced me to this little book called Fostering Grit. And it's really about tenacity and perseverance. And I can tell you that grit is a whole lot about how this award happened. And it's on behalf of our kids, but certainly on behalf of our teachers. I want to, at a time when our families struggle economically, a lot of times musical instruments are the first things to go. And I want you to listen to this story because it's an important story about grit and about the kind of teachers that we have here at Springdale. In 2011, first year Miss Bingston came, we had our nice little night where we invited all the people to come and sell our kids instruments, and 250 of our kids showed up. And 30 left with instruments that night. That's a gut check. 250 of them want to be in your band, and 30 of them leave with instruments. So Miss Bingston got on the phone and she called a contact who had a used instrument business. Said, we need to set up a night because we've got some kids that need instruments. So we set up another night. Tons of people came. 10 more bought their instruments. So at that time we had 40 out of the 250. We had 40 school instruments at that time, so that left 140 kids needing school instruments. These teachers, through eBay, through pawn shops, talking to Dr. Rollins, how can we do this? They've gotten instruments into the hands of kids who want to play instruments in Springdale. And our band was at 240 strong when we started. Kids who wanted to play got to play. And it's through their work on the weekends, at night, searching eBay, hitting pawn shops from Springdale to Kansas City. It's because of their grit is what has continued to make the music program strong. I could not be more proud of our band at J.O. Kelly. I can tell you that one of our feeder principals came when we were doing our 5th grade orientation, and we had our band play for them. And she said, it is so nice that the George Junior High band came over and played for us. And I said, the George Junior High band? That's our band. And she couldn't believe it. She said, those kids started in August. And so hats off to these folks who not only are like purchasing the instruments, tracking them down, getting them into the hands of kids, but absolutely just keep growing the bar. George Junior High gets invited to the Midwest. This is the rest of the story right here. So Miss Bingston served in the Air Force. She was an Air Force band member. So when you see the Air Force band come, Janice Bingston has been part of that for many years. She's published in numerous magazines this year. She continues to contribute to professional organizations, and I could not be more proud, nor could I say that anyone deserves it any more than this feeder pattern, because I'm telling you, they are out there hustling for kids, and I am just thrilled for them. So, Janice Bingston.
I did a little bit of research, I must admit, about 10 minutes before I got my car to come here. And I thought, well, gee, where has this information gone? What might be interesting for them to know? So the award, there were 96 individual schools that got the award, the recognition. And of course, it's on the NAM website, and there's over 9,000 members to that organization. And it was in our local newspaper, and of course, it was on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And it was also published, I printed a copy of the cover off. This is a cover of the April issue of School Band and Orchestra magazine. And about 40,000 band directors nationwide get that. So our school was listed in there. And then I saw also too that the NAM organization was part of a focus at the 74th Annual School Board Conference in California this year. And so one of the they put all those school names in front of the people that attended that. But they also had an activity where they had a band perform, and they invited school board members to come and sit in the middle of the band. And I was thinking that, I haven't asked my colleagues, but I am sure that anyone here who wanted to sit in the middle of any band in Springdale, we can make that happen. So that's an open invitation. Come and sit right in the middle of the band and experience it with the kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would like Lauren Tyree and Kelly Bortz to come up here at this time. The University of Arkansas honors teachers at its Mentor Teacher Appreciation Celebrations. This year, 2 Springdale teachers were honored at this event. Kelly Bortz, who is a business education teacher at Central Junior High School, and Lauren Tyree, who is an elementary school teacher at Bayari. was named the Elementary Education Mentor Teacher of the Year. And so I'd like for you to recognize them at this time.
I was so honored to receive this recognition from the university and was surprised because we have amazing teachers in our district who serve as mentors. So to be recognized with that group was truly an honor. And I went through the business education program at the University of Arkansas about 8 years ago. I had a marketing degree and I went through the program for my teaching certification. And I interned at HAR-BER High School and had a great experience. So I just recognized the importance of being in the classroom and just I love being a mentor and just encouraging those students who are placed with me and guiding them, through the process of being in the classroom and helping them know what to do when they're standing in front of 30 kids who sometimes that seems overwhelming. So it was great to be honored, and I was so pleased to represent Springdale.
Thank you for doing that for our
Yes, I am humbled just to be in this room with these great people here, let alone receive an award for that. I had, this is my second year teaching, and the interns that I had were amazing. They have this fire when they walk into the classroom, and it's so good to see. They're ready. They've spent, 10 hours the night before working on these lesson plans, and it's so exciting to see. And, one of the things that we really talked about was productive failure. That 10-hour lesson plan really might not work for these 5-year-olds today, and they might eat you alive, but you have got to pick yourself back up right in the middle of it and move on. And it was exciting to see them doing that. That's a learned skill, and I'm still learning it every day. And it was fun to learn along with somebody and just feel that excitement. And great mentors along the way at Bay Ari. So it was a pleasure to be able to step into that role and really help them do what I love to do. So it was a joy.
How does the nomination process work? I mean, they spend the semester or the whole year with you guys, and then they go back?
Business teachers, they spend a whole semester.
Okay.
And there's a nomination process, so teachers are nominated either by the representative or the liaison through the university, or by the student teacher that is placed with you.
It just seems like such a great honor to spend that semester with a kid and then have them nominate you for that award. So it's a really big deal. So thank you guys.
Great process.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to add, being a mentor in the capacity of mentoring interns as well as mentoring novice teachers, that is an altruistic thing to do. I believe there is some small amount of monetary award. It doesn't come close to the amount of work that they put in, and so to do that at all is something that I'm proud of people for doing, and certainly to be recognized in this way, we're very honored to have these two folks among us.
Thank you.
Ms. Flora, would you come forward? Our principal at Young Elementary School, she's getting to be a regular with this group. We're really proud of the accomplishments of our students. And she has a very special announcement to make about this team's competition, An Odyssey of the Mind. Debbie, thank you. We're so glad to have you and your team here.
It's my pleasure to come before you tonight and introduce some students from Young Elementary School and some coaches that are important to us as well. Springdale had 3 teams representing Arkansas in the world, 6 teams, excuse me, representing Arkansas in the Odyssey of the Mind at the World Competition at Iowa State University. There were 836 teams there from 35 states and 15 other countries, and there were 19 awards given. And this particular team was our stackable structure team, and they placed 3rd place at World. So we're very proud of them. I'll introduce the students who are here, and their coaches and our faculty sponsor. And then we have some parents and some people here also supporting that I would like to recognize in a minute. But we have Audra Simpson and Alexi and Lainey Freeland, Caden Mitchell, Noah Livingston. Our faculty sponsor is Wendy Peters, and our coaches were Justin and Jacinda Freeland. And the students spend hours preparing to go to a competition like this. It excites me because it's creative thinking, it's critical thinking, but there's so much science involved as well. So I love to see the integration of all those thinking skills with the STEM activities. So that said, Ms. Peters, do you have anything you wanted to add? She's our faculty sponsor.
One of our team members is unable to be at this tonight. She's at camp, and her name is Audrey Walker. So if you know both Jamie Walkers in the district, that's their daughter. So I was just going to say we are so super excited, but I'm really excited because we've had teams in OM since the beginning, since Young opened in 2000, and this is our first team to actually play, so we're super excited. So, yay! This team came in third behind China, so that is a big deal. So we were super excited. If you've never seen a structure before, we'd love for you guys to come and see them crush a structure at some point. It's a balsa wood structure. Is it 18 grams?
She has.
Do you have one? Oh, good. I think the 18 grams is the max weight it can be. And they held how many pounds, guys?
440.
Okay, so 390 counted for before the time, and then they actually held 475. We're going to let. Do you mind?
They held what?
Yes, 475.
Why don't you bring your trophy up here and so everybody can see it while you're.
All right, this is a list.
We promise we'll give it back.
So we had to build a structure made out of balsa wood and glue. The structure had to have 3 pieces or more. It had to weigh 18 grams or less. After we built the structure, we had to stack the structure on top of each other. After we stacked the structure, we put weight on the structure to see how much it would hold. Our structure held 475 pounds.
Wow. It weighs 18 grams or less and held 475 pounds? Okay.
And then we had to make a skit of our own and perform it in front of everybody.
Wow, that's cool.
Oh, yes.
What you do there?
Well, we also got to pin trade with other teams all around the United States and 15 in the world and 15 other countries. China, Indonesia, Togo from Africa, Japan, Switzerland, Canada, India, Poland, Singapore, Mexico, South Korea, Germany, Russia, Hong Kong, and Hungary.
The structure that they built, if you notice, when you look at it very carefully, the rules stated that you could not have a continuous column. So these two, I believe, were the structure builders, correct? Noah and Lexi, and they had to figure out the design and test it many times so that it fit the, qualifications or requirements.
So did you get the instructions ahead of time, or you?
Yes, sir. We are given the problems. There are 5 problems to choose from throughout the year, and this is the structure problem. They receive those September, October, and so they work once a week and again twice a week, and then Saturdays, preparing for this competition. So they had regional competition in March and state competition in April, and then our world competition was in May. So it's super exciting.
475 pounds.
Pushing down on top of it.
What was it though? Was it a
Very
box?
cool. Well, you would set it on top, so there would be a pole in the ground, and the pole would come up through the middle of this,
Yeah.
and you and then you would stack this thing called a crusher board, and it's just a piece of wood that you set on there to stabilize it all. And you'd put a 5 or a 10-pound weight, and you would keep putting like, we did 35, 10, 35, 10, put it on.
So
Who puts the weights on? Who puts the weights on?
I do, and
Was it scary?
it was kind of nerve-wracking because you don't want to drop it because then it's over.
So when you put the 476 pound on, so it just broke when you put the last one on?
Yes, we
broke?
put a 45 on and it, boom, blew up.
And your toes were out of the way?
Yeah. Yeah, we have to bend down to put it on. So
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
Neat.
Very cool. Where did you stay?
What are the ages of the children that were able to compete?
On campus?
Our team is This team is third through fifth. There are actually, there are 4 divisions, and so Division 1 is 3rd grade through 5th, Division 2 is 6th through 8th, Division 3 is 9th through 12th, and they even have a Division 4, which is college teams. You can have teams from corporations, and we also had some, in years past, we've had some elderly groups, senior citizens groups that form teams, so that was exciting as well. Oh, yeah, we also have primary. And by the way, we had, we had 3 primary teams at Young this year, so we're going to have some Omers coming up, so.
And, you know, this would not be possible without coaches that donate so much time to make this happen, and the students' parents, and some of the parents are here tonight. If you all would stand so we could recognize you as well. And then we also have some of the other participating team members here. They support each other so much when they go through something like this. It's not just one team, it's a whole team from Springdale, and so we have other Omers, they call themselves, here tonight as well, supporting this group of team. They all work together. Are there any other questions?
I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege. We have a Hellstern team I know, and there's a special young man on that team, and I wonder if all the children that participated in Iowa could come down just so we can meet them, if you don't mind. I know they came tonight, and I'd like to recognize Now that microphone can come off, so if you could just take that off and introduce yourselves and maybe tell us what team you were on. And spread out so we can see all of you. We appreciate you coming in.
My name is Riley, and I'm actually the only person from my team here, but I was Problem 1, Division 2.
My name is Logan, and I was part of Problem 4, the stackable structure.
I'm Miller, and I was the stackable structure Division 2.
I'm Kirsten. I was part of the stackable structure Division 2.
I was on Problem 2, Division 1.
What was your name, honey?
We also had a team from HAR-BER that competed on, I think they're on another trip that also, and they're already getting together. Hopefully we're going to have 2 teams from HAR-BER and 1 from Springdale. I'm also, I don't know that you know, I'm the state director, like I said, of mine. Springdale was probably second only to Pocahontas with the number of teams representing the state of Arkansas. And Arkansas did extremely well. All of our Springdale teams placed in the upper half, competing anywhere from 60 to 70 teams from all over the United States and all over the world in various problems. But also, with the help of these kids, we won the creativity booth. Arkansas did, and we also won in the top 10 of the float. And they have to design the float and build that. That's a whole state effort. So the kids get to meet kids from other parts of the state, and then when they get to World, they make friends and meet kids from the other parts of the world. And it's just an experience. You have to go, and I think all the parents, Ms. McKinney and the rest of you will tell you, you have to go to this event to understand the experience that you have and that the kids have. It's just an awesome, awesome experience. And also, we are very proud of Springdale this year. So I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and this is, yeah, counting with me here. And this is the first time I've ever been kind of directly associated with the team in the top 3. Springdale's had teams in the top 7. We've been announced had teams in the top 6, but this is our very first team in the top 3. And to be 3rd in the world is really, really impressive.
Sure is. Great.
That's
great. Thank you.
Thank you for being here on your summer vacation. We appreciate you coming in.
Logan,
Kim, you cleared the room.
Ms. Garrett, if you will, please continue.
All right, it is my privilege to announce that both Har-BER High School and Springdale High School received $40,000 apiece grants from the Department of Career Education. And these grants will support both high schools moving into next year as they plan to implement small learning communities. And so it's taking our big high schools and dividing them into smaller, type like an academy, like a house. Our career academies will continue just like what you see them. They will be embedded inside that small learning community. But it will really give all of our students and teachers that smallness where they have a place to fit in and build relationships and really be known, and help all of us make sure that no one slips through the crack and everyone is supported like they need to. Mr. Lindley, I know, is here from Har-BER High School tonight. I saw him. Oh, there he is. And Mr. Jinks timed that very well. So if you have any questions for them, this is, like I said, a planning year. And so it will be a matter of professional development for the teachers, helping us create the structures and the plans to divide the teachers and divide the students as we move into the full implementation the following school year.
So the grant money is used for this preparation period?
Yes, it's used for supplies. I believe both of the high schools put some money in for the actual supplies, because it does take actual work to help students take self-assessments, help teachers take self-assessments as they figure out, you know, which small learning community do I want to be a part of, which really fits my learning styles, my interest, and then also that professional development.
How does that, I know you mentioned it fits in with the academies.
Yes.
Does that mean like the engineering academy would consist of 4 or 5 smaller, how does it fit with everything?
It will actually fit the other way. like the Engineering Academy will be put into a small learning community, where the Engineering Academy may only have 150 students in it. Most of our small learning communities will be somewhere between 450 and 500 students. And so students who have an engineering interest, and it may even be a bigger interest as they identify what those houses are called. Some students may want to go completely into the Engineering Academy because they already know that interest and they want to take all of those courses. Other students may just want to experiment. They just may want to take an introductory course, but they don't want to completely join the academy. So they could be in that house. And so there may be several academies that are inside of one house.
So there may be 3 or 4 houses within the high school.
Yes. With our numbers, probably between 4 or 5 houses in each high school.
Will every kid be in a house?
Yes. Every student and teacher will be in a house. Now, within that, you still have flexibility. I know sometimes that parents worry about, well, if my student's in a house, but what about band? What about an advanced placement course? Those courses continue just like they are now. They're open access courses. And so any student who wants in band, choir, athletics, advanced placement courses, they can still get into those courses.
So the idea is for each kid to feel like they're part of a 400-person house or school, or...
That's right, where they have an assistant principal, they have a counselor. Parents know who that secretary is. Who do I call when my child's absent? They have that constant piece, so the high school doesn't feel so big.
So it's just an extension of the academy. There's no overlap, there's no conflict there. It's just more of that type of feel.
Yes, we feel it helps meet the needs of those who are very interested in a career, like those who want to join an academy, or those who they don't know yet what they want to do, but they can still belong to a small house where they get that sense of belonging.
How did I probably just really didn't listen, but how did this come about, deciding to do this? Is this something done somewhere else, or is it something that we identified as a need?
This is something that has been supported through Career Education Department. And we spent last year, both of our high schools had received grants to explore the concept. And so we took teachers and administrators to Nashville to look at they call them academies. And so we have a lot of terminology that kind of overlaps. Different people use it different ways. They call their small learning communities academies. And we looked at what Nashville was doing. We took teachers to the National Academy Conference and were able to visit with lots of different schools. Part of what our high schools have said is, when you talk about is there a need, when we look at our graduation rate, we have very good graduation rates, but you know what? They're not 100%. We want every student to feel a sense of belonging. We want every student to graduate and have plans for the future. And so this is a way to help meet the needs of all of our students.
As we watched our schools, particularly our high schools, grow over the years, there was nothing but benefit from the growth, except for the one thing, the size and the kids getting lost. So this is just sounds like a super program.
This is a way of taking the large comprehensive nature of the high school, where we have the ability to offer so many comprehensive courses, and like you said, that great benefit of size, but also it helps us with the other side of size and helping make it a little bit smaller and more personable.
So at this time next year, the idea would be you present, here's how it looks, here's the best setup for Springdale.
And we will probably do that before this time, because what we will want to do is have our plans in place for CAP, so that all of our parents and students, as they move into the CAP process next year, part of that process will be choosing that academy. And so we will be bringing information to you. I feel we'll be bringing a lot of information to you in the fall as we prepare for CAP in the spring.
But our setup could look a whole lot different than anybody else's. That's the reason for the grant, that's the reason for the study. And then it can go a number of different directions, and it needs to fit fit our community, and it needs to fit what's already there on the academies. Okay.
Exactly.
Great.
We were in a meeting yesterday with our Chamber of Commerce, NTI, et cetera, and there was a lot of conversation about career preparation, career orientation, building a partnership between the business community and the schools, with the idea that we would have our kids at least thinking about where they might want to spend their careers, develop careers, et cetera. Make this connection between the experience we had yesterday and what we're wanting to accomplish. Pete, why don't you and Robert come on up and join in this? And Aaron, I guess if I could ask for really a special, this is an enormously important concept that we need to communicate with every business leader in the community, and you could really help us a lot with this. So y'all help paint the picture so Aaron understands and can really help communicate this. Go ahead, Ken.
And I'll let the high school administrators talk about the specifics, but what Dr. Rollins is talking about was this meeting yesterday where we really talked about with community leaders about the need for our students to have solid plans as they move into the next level. It's not enough for students just to show up at the gates of college and start to explore what they want to do. And so the small learning community and the academies allow us to create advisory councils where we bring the business community in, and that, like Dr. Rollins, like you said, that was one of the main things talked about, was how do we get the businesses into our schools? How do we help the businesses communicate to the schools what they need in a worker, what the industry is going to be looking for in the future, and that helps us then create the right types of classes and the right types of learning experience to prepare students. So I'm going to let both of you talk about a little bit about maybe the structure, kind of what you're thinking about with your small learning communities, community partners.
Well, Springdale High School has the advantage of having the academies for such a long time, and they've been tremendously successful. So when we came to Ms. Garrett and Dr. Rollins about this idea, the number one question they had was the same question I had. Why mess around with something that's already working? If it's not broke, why fix it? The conversation came up, as Ms. Garrett pointed out, that we figure we have 80% of our kids at our school that's tied in or have some type of niche that they can identify with our school. What about those 20%? What puts us over the hump where we are getting at 98, 99, 100% graduation rate? Kids follow relationships. So we came up with this idea based on the experiences, and we went to Nashville Public Schools, we went to, I believe, one down in Texas around Houston, and we started looking at how other schools had addressed this issue with how getting all their kids feeling like they're a part of the school. We're going to be roughly about 2,300 students next year, and how do we make sure that all of our kids are identified and have some place where they belong and they identify with and have pride in, not just from a large setting. So we brought in roughly about 12 industry leaders from our community. We brought in people from the hospital, Northwest Medical, Walmart, Tyson, Multicraft, Conair, all different places that we've had relationships with, partnerships with our business community. And we asked them, what are you looking for? What skills are you looking for an employee? And remarkably, even though they were all different types of careers and different focus areas, they all said the same thing. They need someone who can think. They need someone who can problem solve. They need someone who's punctual. They need someone who's willing to take instructions and be able to figure out the plan for it based on very brief instructions. They need people who can write legibly, that can think out processes. And so we started to think about this idea that our students take 8th grade CUTR exams in order to be able to get career assessment. We need to be able to take that, move that up to 9th and 10th grade, so kids are starting to look at the idea of, I have a purpose when I get out of high school. What happens at the 13th grade? I bet a lot of people don't know there was a 13th grade, but it's called 13th grade, your freshman year in college. What happens in that transition period? We want kids to have a plan of what they want to do when they get out of high school. And they want to have as much experience possible of looking into that plan and investigating it when they get out, before they get out of high school. I'm one, I could raise my hand. How many people changed their major when you were in college? How many people had to take additional coursework because you changed your major and that cost more money? We can give more experience to those kids to learn about what they want to do out of high school. They can make better informed decisions about what classes they take and what success they're going to have when they get out of high school. Are we going to change this? This is going to be a fluid situation. I anticipate 4 years after we start this, we'll go back to the business community and we'll say, has anything changed? Do we see someplace? We talk to the chamber, talk to NTI. What are you seeing in our community, our demands for career areas? We're going to talk to our kids. What do you want to do? Has it changed? Has it changed for what you want to do in the future? There's no surprise that with the popularity of NCIS, we got a lot of kids in law and public safety because they think that's the coolest thing ever, crime scene investigation. What do our kids want to do? So we can sit there and be stagnant about it and say this is what we think the best thing to do, or we can respond to our kids and our clientele and our community and say where do you need our kids to be at when they get out. So that's kind of the emphasis behind all this.
Just something we learned yesterday, and Rob, I apologize for interrupting. We've had great relationships with corporate, Northwest Arkansas, and we talk about Walmart, and we talk about Tyson's and George's, and the list goes on from there, JB Hunt, so on and so forth. Those people come and they send their best people to meet with us. But there's so many industries out there, based on our feedback yesterday, that we seldom, if ever, make contact with. Do you have any thoughts about that? Because when we talk about the needs of business, the message yesterday, our needs are changing about every 30 minutes. And yet, we're talking about, a year, 2 years, 4 years from now, we'll get back with them.
Absolutely.
So building that dynamic relationship with business partners is real important to this process.
One of the most interesting things they did when we brought in people from smaller businesses in this, people that are what you call small business operators. And they had the same message. These are the type of skills we need kids to have. And another thing, Dr. Rollins, that you're aware of, and I know, is that research shows us that the jobs that are going to be available for kids that are in junior high right now probably haven't even been invented yet or haven't been created yet. And so what are the skills that our kids are going to have to be competent, those 21st century skills, to be able to do that? But I think you raised a great point. We look at the big employers. We look at JB Hunt. We look at Tyson. But where are we working with our small business operators? And one thing that's really worked really well with that is our advisory teams for our academies. Right. The group that we bring in, there might be a two-person operation for an engineering firm in Fayetteville, but we still bring those folks in and they come in and still have a conversation about it, because those are the folks where a lot of entry-level jobs are going to be at for our kids. And so if they can confirm what we're getting from the larger corporations, we just know we're in a stronger position to do what we need to do.
Thank you.
Just going to say that the personalization piece, I think, is crucial and going to be a huge benefit to the district because, HAR-BER's a wonderful place and it has roughly 1,800 students. Some of those students go every day and, maybe fall between the cracks with teachers just because of the size. So the plan with the small learning community is going to be make it more personal. Have these group of kids of 400, a more manageable 500, more manageable number to where they see the same teachers and see the same group, where those teachers can collaborate and look at those individual needs of those students and focus on their strengths and improve, build upon that, but also help them with their weaknesses that they need to grow and become the people that they want to be. So it's an exciting time. The groundwork is being laid out, but there are some plans. We really don't know what it's going to look like yet, but that makes it, I guess, even more exciting.
Have you begun to think about these smaller learning communities and what general areas they would be in and so forth?
We've talked about, the natural procession would be for us to take what we have with our current academies and try to branch out. But we've talked about, IT, technology can be involved in anything. If you look at engineering and architecture, what about engineering services? Talking about kids that go out and get a 2-year post-secondary degree that be able to provide a support service for engineering firms or construction companies. One thing we looked in was also culinary arts. We want to get our fine arts kids involved. So where do we deal with the area of business management, of entertainment? Kids that are talented in the arts, what are they going to have to be able to do to be successful? They're going to use their specialization, use their creativity to be able to enhance a business or a job later on. They might not be a performer per se, but they could use their creativity to enhance another person's business. So the natural progression for us is to try to revolve it around our academies and look at ancillary type things that they might be affected with. But also I think it's cool because it's exciting, as Rob pointed out, because we can look at other avenues like that of where we can see potential areas that might interest our students.
The engagement piece is huge, you know, just so many times you see students come to school and they just don't have a focus, or, you know, what do you want to do? They struggle, they've not really ever thought about that, and so hopefully this will be an avenue where we start those conversations with them. And, you know, the construction program that we have at HAR-BER is going to be a huge asset to us when we start doing this. That'll be one of those, I don't think we call that an academy, but that's going to be one of those small learning, a part of that small learning community with the construction asset group, but also the medical, the legal, we're looking at those as two of the other ones that we're going to see. That's a lot of that will depend on the interest.
Personalization, relevance. Keep talking about over and over about what makes kids come to school. Kids come to school to get an education, but if we can tie that in and make that strong, bind stronger by bringing personalization to what they want to do when they get out of high school, that just solidifies it. And so I'm really excited about seeing when we survey our kids and find out what they want to do when they get out of high school and start talking to them about that and what they need to do to get there, because they may come up with stuff that we never ever thought of, and that's going to be really interesting.
As you move from the Pocket Academy to the wall-to-wall conversation, how will the role of your mentors change? You could easily move from a precise focus to a more global focus. So build that bridge for us.
They've got to be, in some respects, they've got to be a futurist. They've got to be looking at, when that child sits down with their parent and the teacher, the mentor, and they start talking about their future, they've got to start, and the child's going to have to understand, if I want to get to point A, I've got to take care of this stuff at point B. And I've got to start thinking about 3, 4, or 5 years ahead of me. I know you have a hard time believing this, but teenagers don't always think 3 or 4 or 5 years ahead of them. They think right now. And so it creates that conversation, and we've talked about as a district with student-led conferences and personal learning plans. It just enhances that whole thing to bring personalization and relevance to having a conversation with a parent, a mentor teacher, and a student about what are you going to do when you graduate. Well, I don't know. Well, now's the time to start figuring that out and having that conversation so that we can refer back to it their junior year and say, okay, this is what you want to do. Are you taking the courses to be able to get where you want to do and have that experience? Yes, I am. Do you enjoy it still? Yes, I do. Let's keep going. Then the next step is, I really don't want to do that anymore. I want to explore this part. This is the time to do it. There's no tuition. This is the time to be able to have that chance of being able to see what it's like.
Student voice, student advisories that we've been really working on, Kathy, with Race to the Top, fits beautifully into this model.
Yes, sir.
What's the magic with the 450 number?
That's a random number. We sat there and thought about, with 2,300 kids, we think about our academies have roughly 150 students in them, 10 through 12. If we were to bring that to bigger, where's the cutoff? There's a certain standard for counselors about how many students a counselor can work with. So it's kind of just one of the, do we think that's a solid number? No. Because one of the things we talked about was there's going to be some of these groups, they're going to have a bigger demand than other groups are. And we've got to be able to adjust with that. The big thing is we've got to be flexible enough that when we see one area that's starting to shrink and become obsolete perhaps, we've got to open up to another area that our kids are interested in. Because if the kids are interested in it, they're going to respond academically and in their attendance and their graduation rate.
How are the kids going to identify the house they're in? I think back to middle school where you got the Knights and the Sharks and,
Right. Well,
or is there going to be that identification where a kid says, I'm a member of
we're going to have
that game?
What I envision this as being, and like I said, this has got to be something we sit down our faculty and we work as a team to be able to create this. But my envision of this is that we take what their career what their aptitude was in their cooter exam when they took in 8th grade when they had career opportunities classes. Yeah.
Through surveys, and
Right.
also, the first thing we need to do, or I feel like it's important, is identify the teachers for that particular academy, because you're still going to be teaching geometry, you're going to be teaching English, 10th grade English, and 11th grade English, and so you've got to identify the teachers that want to go towards that academy. So we talked about the possibility at HAR-BER of having the teachers take the tutor exam to see what their is.
Good idea.
Because,
Yeah.
but the idea is that we would survey the kids, and we would take, obviously, we can't cater to every need, but can we be able to hit most of them where the kids would feel some identity with something? And there might be, and Jeff, I think the word you were looking for when you were talking about the academies is program of study, okay? That's a more general term than an academy. So we might have in
A good example, that might be law.
Right.
You might have criminal law, but you might have environmental, law.
one of the big things with the National Career Academies conference and the National CTE conferences is correctional justice, working in correctional facilities. Believe it or not, there's a lot of demand for that in its private businesses. Randy?
What's the name, what do you call this exam again? What's the name of this exam? Cooter. I thought that's what you said. That's an interesting.
It's just a vocational aptitude. That's all it is.
Wow.
The issue is, we administered it at the 8th grade, and we need to administer it at 8th grade plus 1 day, and 9th grade, and 10th grade, and 11th
They
grade.
tend to change their minds.
Yes.
But we got a treasure trove of data there that we need to tap into.
But the whole idea is to increase graduation rates and put,
Ultimately, that is it.
and get kids that are good problem-solving folks that are going to be good employees
Yes.
someday, whether they go to college or not.
Career orientation class is going to be a huge impact on that.
You identify a kid, what they're interested in, and get them involved with it, and understand the significance of what they're taking and the classes they're taking based upon their interest. And all of a sudden now you personalize their education, you brought relevance to it. And that is a magic thing to happen to get kids to sustain what they're, keep them in school and get them graduated so that they're successful after high school.
And take those programs of study and use that to teach the core classes through project-based learning. Powerful.
But it all starts with, what do the employers
Yep.
need?
We've got to listen to
We're trying to produce employees
Right.
here. What do they
We've got
need?
to listen to them. We've got to listen to them. HAR-BER Bank, all those guys, they all tell us the same thing. We need people that can think independently, work as a team, have those soft skills that not necessarily content-based, but they can practice them when they go into their classes.
I love this deal when you talk about the fine arts, finding kids that have that special aptitude, because not everybody can be a rock and roll musician or.
But they can still be part of the industry of it.
Yes.
They can be the people that create the music videos.
And that's growing in Northwest Arkansas
Sure
like
is.
crazy. So.
Thank you, guys. Ken, thank you.
I am also proud to announce, we have Ellen Rainey here this evening. Ellen, if you want to join me. She has a group of students from HAR-BER High School that won medals and even cash at the National Spanish Exam. So I'm going to let her tell you about that experience.
Good evening. And the other thing that businesses want is bilingual people, so. Sorry. Okay. The National Spanish Exam, they're online standardized assessment tools for grades 6 through 12, given voluntarily by over 3,800 teachers to measure proficiency and achievement of students who are studying Spanish as a second language. I've been giving this to my students since 1997. The National Spanish Exams are the most widely used tests of Spanish. Last year, 153,000 kids took the National Spanish Exam. It's sponsored by AATSP, which also sponsors our Spanish Honor Societies at both high schools. The purpose of the exam is to recognize achievement, promote proficiency, assess the national standards, and stimulate further interest in the teaching and learning of Spanish. The district has paid for our students to take this test the last 5 to 6 years so that no one's left out. They can all take it, anyone that's in a Spanish class. There are 6 levels of the exam, 1 through 6. Usually 1, 2, 3 it corresponds to Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3. But there's also 3 categories. Regular is for the Williams and the Owenby kids that took it when they were there. Outside experience is kids that are, I had a girl from Brazil, so she speaks Portuguese but not Spanish, or that they had a flex program maybe somewhere else that they, elementary program, they've actually studied a little bit of Spanish. And then the third category is bilingual native. So for the categories, they're all separated. They can, just based off their test score, they can be designated, not in comparison to others, with honors, bronze, silver, and gold, just based off their score, not comparison, just doing well. And I had 50 kids get one of those honors, and we had over 150 at HAR-BER get just the honors without comparison. And then the state competition, they take those scores, and just in the state of Arkansas, we had, I think it's 22, get top 10% or placed. Level 1, top 10%, Katie Hill, Peyton Miser, Stephanie Elias was an outside experience, and then a bunch of them were also bronze or silver or gold. Level 2, we had a 2nd place in the state, Ashley Calderon. 6 others got top 10%. Level 3, bilingual native, 2nd place in the state, Karina Mancia, and some top 10%. Level 4, some top 10%, Jake Washkowiak and Alex O'Brien, and 1st place in the state in the bilingual native category, Cesar Gonzalez. Level 5, Kim Mincer was top 10% in the regular category. And level 6, we got 1st place in level 6 regular and bilingual native. And last but not least, my AP kids swept the level 5 bilingual native category. We got 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. And yay! That was pretty big. And this is Ana Moradel, and she is in my AP Spanish class. And she's also Miss HAR-BER, Miss HBHS, and she's president of our Spanish Honor Society. And she's wearing the medal that they got for top 10% or for placing. And then they also get certificates for bronze, silver, or gold. And so I'm really glad that she got to come today to represent the kids, high school kids, once summer comes.
Thank you.
That's all. Okay.
Thank you.
Correct.
Several years ago, the Arkansas Association of Middle-Level Administrators decided to become a part of the National Schools to Watch group. In fact, Dr. Rawls, you were president of AAEA the year that happened.
That's pretty special.
It was. It was.
I remember that very well.
And we have, one of our schools applied in 2008 to become an Arkansas Diamond School to Watch. They were redesignated in 2011, and they have just recently been redesignated in 2014, and that is Helen Tyson Middle School. Susan?
It's really an honor to represent Springdale and Helen Tyson Middle School and share the story of what's going on in Springdale with other schools, middle schools across the nation. And we've been very fortunate to attend this National Forum Conference 3 times and bring back really good initiatives to that we kind of steal, and we take them and we make them our own, and we share with other schools in the state of Arkansas. We've had visits from schools to Helen Tyson. I know J. O'Kelly and Hellstern also have participated in this, so it's just our pleasure to represent this school district and to take back these practices and and allow our students to benefit from them. So thank you for allowing us to make this trip.
3 or 4 of those attributes that you think has really brought attention to this process and help us understand, and then maybe all of us can learn from that.
Well, middle school, I was listening to the high schools talk about their small academies and making that a smaller community, and I think they really and truly took that from middle schools. Middle schools started with pods and teams and creating that kind of culture to have a school within a school. And I think also the advisory piece, where we do our morning, we are, of course, the Hornets, and we swarm and we buzz and we sting and we do all those kinds of things. But in the morning, that's the first thing that we do is we have an advisor-advisee time that's where you meet your student, and we build culture. We have our character words, we have team building, we do current events, we look at organizational skills, because if you've had a middle schooler, you know that really it's the black hole of the locker of what comes out of that and what goes in. So we organize. We also look at grades. We send home communication in our swarm time. We call that swarming, students with a real mission. We send those communication pieces home to parents. Clubs, and it's a lot of culture, and then they also look at your academics. They look at your scores, they look at how you are progressing with your scores, and they want to see when you are redesignated that you have continued the tenets that allowed you to become a school to watch in the first place. Because when they come and visit your school, I mean, they pull up the rugs, they talk to parents that walk in invited, they talk to your special ed parents, they come into conferences. They really want to know what's the work at hand. Are you continuing to be a school to watch? Are you continuing all of those practices that made you receive the award in the beginning? So that's one thing that we've been very proud of at Helen Tyson, is that the continuation of the tenets that Dr. Rollins is talking about, and trying to refine those and really make them best for our kids. So, I don't know, I'm just excited about going. We're going to, another great part of it is that you get to have a Hill visit with one of your congressional leaders. And I asked Dr. Rollins tonight, I said, are there things you want us to take? Are there questions that we as a community and our board would like us to bring forward to make them aware of the needs of education in Arkansas? So I think it's a great forum for us to be able to sit down and talk with. Right now, they've not scheduled our individual time, but we are on the board, and we'll either meet with Bozeman or with Steve Womack and take this message from Springdale. You get to also attend all of the breakout sessions, the ones you choose to go to. There's over 70 breakout sessions that we will attend, and try to refine that and make that work for Helen Tyson Middle School.
One of 9 schools in the state this past year to be named as an advanced status. Make that connection.
Well, this past year, we had phenomenal growth in terms of our scores, and we were designated with an exemplary rating. And that kind of marries the figure of meeting your AMO, but also meeting your growth status. And our demographics, we look at, that's a big road that we take. And we work real hard to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. And I think that some of the middle school tenets allow us to do that, where you look at a child where they come to you in terms of a piece of data also, not just an individual student, but you look at where their needs are academically in reading and in math, and then we design a particular curriculum for that child to meet them at their reading level, whether they come to us at a 3rd or 4th or 5th grade reading level. We're going to dig in and we're going to move them in a direction for growth, because that's where they came, and we're going to take them to the next level. I think that also attributed to the growth response helped us in that exemplary status.
So this is the 3rd year you've been a Diamond School to Watch, but the first year you've been on the exemplary status.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just as another side note, we have other schools to watch in our district as well. Hellstern is a school to watch, Shell Kelly's been a school to watch, and Sonora is on the way. So that's our goal. We intend for all of our Springdale schools to be schools to watch, because they are. And someone else that we need to be watching, many of you were able to go to monitor the day we surprised Miss Andy Acuff. And Andy, if you'll come down here, and Andy has led our monitor mallards to new heights. They have been flying and quacking. Andy has been a partner with Mrs. Childress in closing the achievement gap at Monitor. Andy conducts peer classroom walkthroughs with teams of teachers. Andy is one of these people, I call her one of our data geeks. And I want you to know that is a compliment. It is, isn't it, Andy? It is, absolutely. Andy is one of these people, she loves data. She manages the data tracking system. She does deep data analysis. She helps determine the strategies. And when asked if you could give tips to any other assistant principal, what would you say? Andy said two things. It's real simple. First of all, you build the relationships with the kids, the parents, the community, the teachers, everyone. It's a community of learners. And the other thing is to be very focused on what you do as an instructional leader. And Andy is focused. She is the special ed designee for that building. She works with discipline. She supervises classified staff. I could go on, but I'll stop because I want you to hear from Andy. We are very, very proud of Andy. Andy is the Arkansas Elementary Assistant Principal of the Year.
Wow. Listening to all the great things that are going on in Springdale, it is just an honor and a pleasure to be able to represent Springdale in that way, and to be able, for people across the state to realize that great things are going on here. So I really appreciate that opportunity to work here, to work with our kids. That award is just symbolic of the work that goes on from our faculty and our students and our families at our school, and I appreciate that opportunity. There are so many great things that go on, and I hope that I can continue to do better every year and have additional opportunities with our students. I can't believe that I am able to get an award for working with our kids every day. I really appreciate the opportunity that y'all have given me. Thank you.
And I know Andy's partner in academics. I'm not saying partner in crime. Her partner in academics, Miss Maribel Childress, is here too. So, well, if it wasn't enough to have the elementary assistant principal of the year, let me tell you about someone else. Dondi, you want to make your way up here? Dondi is, first of all, she's a master school principal, as designated by the Arkansas Leadership Academy for the Arkansas Department of Education. And I have to admit, I'm very proud that is where I first met Dondi. Dondi has moved Walker to higher levels of achievement through collaboration, an intense focus on standards, an intense focus on personalization of learning, and an intense care and concern for every child at Walker. She introduced the idea of Socratic circles to the elementary schools and has provided professional development for many, many of our elementary teachers across the district. She also introduced what we call the LIPS program, and I'm going to tell you what it means, but you'll remember LIPS better. The Lindemood Phoneme Sequencing Program. We call it LIPS. And it's a way of getting kids to really hear the sounds and know how to make the sounds, and it has improved reading as the teachers have been trained in this, and as our specialists have been trained in this to push into the classrooms. Dondi also has developed rigorous lessons with her staff in Common Core, and she's provided model lessons to other teachers across the district. One of the things I have enjoyed the most is the brain breaks at Walker. And I don't know if we go to Walker, if you look in the cafeteria, you'll see over there they've got the stationary bikes. They'll have all kinds of exercise equipment. And the kids periodically will take brain breaks, and they'll go and just exercise for 10 minutes or less, and then they go back to the classroom. So I asked Dondi, I said, so is that making a difference? She said, based on what the teachers tell me, she said it kind of breaks that when they're kind of, you know how sometimes you kind of begin to kind of think? She said the kids come back and they're ready to go to learn. She does personal research on professional learning communities and has been working with student-led conferences for the last 14 years at Walker. As we move all of our elementaries and middle schools into student-led conferencing, Dondi is taking a leadership role and working very closely with me and with others as we develop this. I could go on and on about Dondi too, but Dondi is an exemplary leader, and I am very proud to serve with her in our district.
Good evening. It's an honor to stand before you, but I have to tell you that after the surprise assembly and everything settled down, I live kind of in my own fairyland sometimes, but I took a reality check, and I'm very aware that we've had Regina, that's been the Arkansas Principal of the Year, and we've had Mary Bell, and my paperwork just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I lucked out because about any principal in this district could have ended up in the place that I was as the Arkansas Principal of the Year. Second thing I want to share with you is that I just want to thank you. I knew I wouldn't make it.
I knew you wouldn't.
I know. Not to disappoint Dr. Rollins, I have to shed a few tears up here, but I love my job almost every day. Almost. There are those days that are tough and you go, oh my goodness, but I am so honored that I have a job that I love to get up and so thank you for allowing me to serve. The third thing I want to say, and the last, because I know we're getting hungry, is that you've heard about relationships. You heard HAR-BER and Springdale talk about that. And this award is all about relationships. I said it from the beginning that when you surround yourself with great people, great things happen. And, I have my home family, and Rusty, my husband, is here. And he's learned to tolerate everything that goes with being married to an elementary school principal. And I have 3 beautiful daughters that couldn't be here this evening. But they are all very supportive, and they know what it takes to do this job and do it well, and I wouldn't want to do it any other way but the best I know how. And I thank them for that. So I go from home family to school family. And here these ladies are, they're off contract, they don't have to be here. I don't even know how they knew about this, but they're here. I work with Joy Shirley, assistant principal, and she is phenomenal. I'm left-handed, she's my right arm. I could trust her with anything in that building, and she could take off and run with it. She's phenomenal. Love her to death. She's like a sister to me. And then I have these teachers, and just to be brief, I was sitting there thinking, and just since school's been out, school ended Wednesday, Thursday work day for teachers. Friday, we spent 6 hours in my library, actually 7, looking at math and looking at the Common Core standards and studying examples. They chose to do that. They wanted to do that. Sunday, before this past Sunday, 3 hours from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, we had made some decisions to move some classrooms in our building so we could collaborate better. And it was a lot of classrooms, I'll tell you. I sent out an invitation through email, free exercise, lifts, squats, pushes, pulls, and about 20 of them showed up there, spent 3 hours helping them move classrooms back and forth. Unbelievable. And this Thursday morning, I'll have about 16 teachers that are going to meet me at Sunset Grill. We're doing a breakfast book study all summer, Teach Like a Pirate, and thank you, Mary Bell, for introducing that to us. But they choose to. And it's surrounding yourself with great people, because this isn't about me being a great principal. It's about the great people that I am privileged to serve with each and every day. I have great parents. I have fabulous students that fuel my fire on a daily basis. My partners in education are wonderful. This district support. Thank you, Dr. Rollins. Thank you, Kathy. Greatly appreciate that. But those teachers are the ones in the classroom, and I couldn't do it without them. My Walker family, I greatly appreciate them. So, thank you.
Can I get the Freisinger family and the Walker family to stand up?
Chris, how are you doing?
I'm well.
We're so glad to have you here tonight. We're what? I get lost. Are we second or third year into the foundation now?
We complete year number 3 in 3 weeks.
Year number
So
3.
Our official birth date is June 30th. So we're on the back end of 3 years of business. And Board, I thank you for allowing me to come tonight and share some milestones. We've come a long way in 3 years. For those of you that do know or don't know, when we launched this idea 3 years ago, we launched it without a penny in the bank. Nothing. We didn't have any commitments. We didn't have any promises. We didn't have anything except an idea. I came to Dr. Rollins with a vision. I don't know if it was a vision or a nightmare, really, when you get right down to it, because it had a lot of holes in it. But we came with a vision and got the support of some great people. And so I stand before you tonight to tell you that we just finished our third year, or close to our third year, our third round of awarding scholarships. I'm so pleased to tell you that this past month, earlier this month, we handed out $40,000 to 35 of our graduates. That brings our 3-year total to $90,000 we've been able to award, which is unbelievable. But more importantly, we've grown from no scholarship funds to now we hold the endowment on 14 different scholarship funds, with number 15 and number 16 already in conversation. We currently hold right at $1.3 million of endowed scholarship money. That's all invested locally, and barring some sort of financial meltdown that we don't ever hope to see again, we should be able to make these awards ad infinitum. We hope this is an important piece of our business. We hope to grow that, and I think we can. This community is an incredibly giving community, and so the support is always there to help our kids go on to something past high school. So that's a piece that I'm really happy to share with you. Next piece of business to share is today is the close of our third grant cycle, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of you because they've got till midnight tonight to get them in. And let me tell you, as I've been sitting back here, they've been coming in. We've had probably 40 grant requests submitted between just today and yesterday. What makes this piece really fascinating is that we had to come up with the money to be able to award classroom grants. So we look at our corporate partners, obviously, to say, how can we help you help our teachers? But more importantly, a significant amount of this money is payroll deducted from the employees themselves. And it's really unique. This is a business model that not many foundations employ. We launched a payroll deduction program 3 years ago. And the first year we collected $20,000, and we gave $20,000, just a little shy of all $20,000, back in classroom grants. Last year we awarded about $40,000 in classroom grants. And this year we're on course to do $50,000 in classroom grants. We also, we have corporate support. The Tyson Foundation has been a fantastic supporter of us from the very beginning. And I'll tell you that program money is money that's much easier to come by because it's exciting. You see kids with a scholarship, or you see a classroom grant. I mean, that's cool stuff. But it's when you start going out looking for operating money, now that's a whole different ballgame because it's not sexy at all. It's just part of doing business. And it's the piece that quite frankly, over the last 3 years has been the hardest piece to do. I probably couldn't have picked a worse 3-year span than the last 3 economic years to start a foundation and raise money. So we are constantly moving. I tell people now, they say, how are things going? And I say, I'm pleased, I'm not satisfied. And I don't know, unfortunately, I don't know that I'll ever be fully satisfied because there's so much work to do. There's a lot of great things that go on in this community. There's a lot of great things that go on in our schools. I'm pleased to be part of it and to be able to support part of it. But I know there's more work to do. I've heard a lot tonight about partnerships and about involvement in the community. And as many of you know, the third piece of our business is the Partners in Education piece. And it's an important piece. I tell people constantly, I think the PIE, the Partners in Ed piece, has the potential to be the most transformational thing we do in all of our schools. When we bring the expertise of our community inside our classroom and we form those relationships between our kids and our community, that's what changes the way we do business. That's what puts our graduates in these jobs later down the road. It's forming those relationships. And through the Partners in Ed program, we just simply try to be the conduit that gets people connected in our community to school. I tell people you have three things. You have your time, your treasure, and your talent. We'll take them all. However you want to get connected to this school district, we want to be the conduit to do that. Partners in Ed is focused strictly on time. It's not on the financial end of things, it's strictly on the time. And so each year at the close of the school year, we look back, we ask the schools to nominate their partnerships, and we look at the most outstanding partnerships. And this past year we recognized three that were really, really cool stuff. I mean, if you don't know this is going on, you look at it and you go, wow. The school partner of the year was a partnership between Samaritan's Feet and Turnbow Elementary. And we had Trent and his crew go out and they shoot video for us and do a great job. And so I'll be honest with you, I read the nomination forms, we give them to a committee, we select the partnerships to be recognized, and we go out and shoot video. And it's not till I see the finished product that I really realize how cool this really is. Samaritan's Feet last year came in early one morning with volunteers from our kids, volunteering from the junior high and the middle schools, provided shoes and socks for 300 kids at Turnbow, but only after, as an act of service, they washed these kids' feet. Now, I'm telling you, that's a powerful piece. They're on track this next year to do 500 kids. And so I look forward to being part of that, standing back and watching that thing, because that's a partnership that will continue to grow. Our district partner of the year was a partnership not from the school level per se, but from our nursing department. Kathy Launder, our nursing coordinator, came to me and said, can I nominate a partnership? And I said, what do you thinking? And she said, for 20 years, McKinney Drug's been providing services and medications to our kids at a discounted or free rate, and continued to tell me stories about, well, they do this, they do this. And, those of you that know Dave and Michelle, they don't do that for any accolade at all. As a matter of fact, I think Dave would just soon go run and hide than to have somebody thank him for something that he's done. But for 20, 30 years, they have served our kids in our schools willingly, and will continue to do so as long as they're in business in this community. And so that was a tremendous partnership to recognize, because they serve all of our schools across our district. Finally, our community partner of the year, it was kind of one long time coming. Just so happens, serendipitously, that Officer Hignight's here tonight, because he was instrumental in starting the Law Academy 12 years ago. And we have how many of our Academy kids employed?
We just offered another one today, so 20.
So you talk about what is our community, what does our business communities need from our graduates? Well, here's a partnership that's put 20 of our graduates employed by our city in our police department. So the partnership was between the Law Academy and the police department. And it really goes without saying that it's a tremendous partnership. And you have to think about partnership. It's not a one-way deal. It's not what can business do for our schools. It's what can we give back. And this is really simple. We give them quality employees that they've worked with and trained for 1 or 2 years while they've been in high school. And so, Partners in Ed is a big piece. And it is transformational. It is what will change our schools. as I started, Tyson Foods has been a tremendous partner of us. They've been a partner for the entire district. They do and do and do. Last November, they gave us a great opportunity. They came and said, we want to shoot some video. We want to highlight what the Tyson Foundation does in our schools by highlighting what you do with the money we give you. And so, to bring you up to speed, 2 years ago we wrote a grant to the Tyson Foundation, and we received $100,000 payable over a 2-year period. What was unique about that is $15,000 of that each year, or $30,000, goes directly towards the foundation's operating costs. Bless them, trust me. The other 70%, $35,000 a year, goes directly into our grant pool that we turn around and grant back into our classrooms and our teachers. Now, having somebody give you money to give away is nearly impossible to find. But they get it. And it's a great partnership because they want to serve our schools. It's hard. It's hard to figure out with 29 buildings and 21,000 kids how to do it. So they've entrusted us with their money to give it away wisely. And so they came and said, we want to shoot some video and spotlight this. And we spent 7 hours with a film crew one day, and we cooked that down to 3 minutes. I am ready.
Is this the chloroplast? No. What is this? Cytoplasm. It's the cytoplasm, but what's inside of the cytoplasm?
We started the foundation 2.5 years ago, and based on the fact that teachers on average take $500 a year out of their pocket to support their classroom activities. What we try to do is figure out a way to fund that really cool project they've always wanted to do that there was never funding for. We make certain that we don't ever supplant district funds. The teachers fill out a grant application. We try to keep it short and simple. Teachers are really, really excited when they can walk away with a $1,500 check for something in their classroom, a project they've always wanted to do.
Monitor Elementary School is a high poverty, high minority, high language minority school. We are 85% free and reduced lunch. 65% of our students are minority students, and 45% of our students are learning English as a second language. One of our 5th grade teachers is very fortunate to have received a grant from the foundation this year to make content more comprehensible.
Last year was my first year teaching, and I had a lot of ESL or English Second Language students in my classroom. ESL teacher pushed in with me 1 hour a day, and one day she brought her iPads, and I was amazed with the engagement in my classroom. They took ownership and pride, and so I was like, I've got to have access to this. This gives them a sense of being able to practice something and then show it to the class. So my goal is for them to build confidence here and then take it to the next level.
I can look at a grant application, but you don't really know what it does until you sit down with the kids and say, what are you doing in class? And they say, we got these things because of, and we're doing this. And that's the piece that really makes the difference.
We received a grant for a community garden. All of our students will have an opportunity to be a part of growing a garden and growing vegetables. Many of our kids live in apartments, duplexes. They just don't have any growing space at home. So this is going to give us an opportunity to sell fruits and vegetables to our families at a very reduced cost.
We'll be planting some greens like lettuces and spinach, and we'll be planting bell peppers, cilantro, a lot of the stuff that our parents will be able to use at home and cook with. Kids are excited. They love to get their hands dirty, and they love to plant. I don't think a lot of them realize where their food comes from. This shows them the actual process.
We are the sum of all of our experiences. We want to make sure that we provide all kids with experiences that they've never had. So I want to close with that because I think that does a really good job of summing up what we're trying to do. This is what our foundation's all about, and it is about providing our kids with the experiences that they would otherwise have. So questions, comments, I'm open to all.
Where would that video be used?
They use it internally, or actually not just internally, they use it externally as well. And we're going to try to figure out the best way we can use that.
Is that the very first place it starts right there?
That's it, at the very beginning, yes.
It's neat, it talks about foundation and just barely mentioned Tyson Foods. So.
Yeah, the idea really wasn't self-promotion on their point. It was more about how can we showcase what the Tyson Foundation does in the community by showcasing the work that the foundation does for them. So
do they offer the foundation as something for payroll deduction?
They do not. And I've asked about that. And it's difficult to implement something in a company that large in one location that you won't offer everywhere. I wish they would, but.
But the district's employees do have that option? Is that something that's been there since the beginning of the project?
We're in our third year of having that payroll deduction option.
It's really a great idea.
I think so. And national statistics say that we, at some point, should cap around 37% of our employees involved. And so we're growing towards that. We've learned a lot during the way. We've kind of tweaked it as we've gone along.
Even small amounts from a lot of employees over a period of time, that can add up to quite a bit.
Our ask is people consider $10 per pay period a reasonable amount. And so of that, we take 70% of that, a minimum of 70% of that right off the top, and they go straight in our grant pool. And so it's really kind of the power of communal giving.
And you said you had $1.3 million sitting there for scholarships?
That's strictly earmarked for scholarship. That's in 14 separate funds.
Okay, that's fantastic.
And I'll tell you, the last piece, I'm really pleased to be able to tell you that to date, we've never used a vendor that wasn't located inside Springdale for anything. I just can't imagine how I can stand before our community and ask for support if I run down the road and hold my event. So everything we do right at home. And it's very seldom that you can say as a charity that 100% of the proceeds, 100% of what we do stays in our district. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris, thank you, sir. Board, we're on item G of the first section of our agenda. If you could turn to page 55. And let me just point out that we have scheduled our July school board meeting on the 15th as opposed to the normal second day. And y'all were good to allow me to do that so I could participate in a legislative meeting in Washington, D.C., and I thank you for that. So this date is July 15th. Our work session will be scheduled from 12 noon to 4:45 p.m. in the conference room upstairs. Jeff, I've prepared a preliminary agenda, and you and I had an opportunity to talk just a little bit about that today. Board, this is simply here for your review. If there are other items that you would like to have on the agenda, I'd be happy to make that adjustment. But I believe that these are things that you would be interested in. And as you can see, we start at 12, and what time do we quit, Dan?
4:45.
So
but I'm bummed.
We've got a rather full afternoon for sure. I wanted us to, I know you have seen just pieces of the East video from Sonora Elementary. I'd like for you to see all that. There's another very special student presentation that I think you'll be just as interested in. Recently, one of our J.O. Kelly students presented to area business leaders and stole the show. You've heard me say, you've seen me write it in various forms, that our Springdale School District is growing in prominence at both the state and national level. And what's the other piece? What's the antecedent? Our students are making it happen. And certainly with the support of our community, you're exactly right about that. But I'd like for you to think with me about how we can continue to build the message of student voice into our work. I asked one of the Race to the Top national consultants a few weeks ago what was the most innovative thing that he had done in his career, and he talked about student conferencing, elevating student engagement in the process. And as you begin to understand and see great examples of the power of that, it'll be clear what he was talking about. And these young ladies at Sonora represent that message. This great presenter from J.O. Kelly shares that message. And so we'll figure that out together, Jeff, as we go forward. There's a major new system in our district, both at the teacher level and at the administrator level, in terms of evaluation of work. And if one implements that process in the right way, it can be a powerful tool to lead us to the next platform, if you will, in terms of district performance, individual performance in the district. And so you need to hear more about that, learn more about it. So leads and tests, I'm sure you've heard some things about it already, but I want you to have an opportunity to see the intent behind all that. The School of Innovation update we'll talk about, and Clay's going to come back and talk about that tonight. And I would just say quickly, it was our goal to have 200 students enrolled in the School of Innovation in August. We have over 200 on our roll today. Joe is working with families now. We did the group work, the enrollment took place. Now we're doing follow-up meetings, or he's doing follow-up meetings with every parent to make sure they understand the model, the expectations, how it works, how they can be a partner in the process. They've had virtually 100% attendance at each of the meetings. They've been breaking that down into groups of 40. So he's 5 nights, 40 parents, talking individually with them about how the program can work and how they can be a partner in the process. And Clay, we'll certainly look forward to your comments about the School of Innovation in just a moment. It's very important that we understand the financial issues facing the district. Kelly tonight's going to talk a little bit about budget from the standpoint of looking down the road the next 2 years. We operate a budget system currently when all of the variables are folded in, are brought into play, in excess of $200 million to serve the 21,000 kids in our school system. So we need to understand that budget process. We need to know how recent legislative action has changed school facility funding and the monies that were pulled away in that process. We need to understand the emerging issue of health insurance for all staff and how that will affect our local district from a budgetary perspective. We need to be able to look at local forecast. I think that the trend data is positive. It's steady. It doesn't give us peaks and valleys. I would expect steady, consistent growth, just like we've seen in terms of our student growth. We would expect again next year to grow about 500 kids, and the state revenue then should follow. And so we'll all want to be good students of that process. The construction update that Dr. Compton will talk to us about tonight and virtually in every meeting. You know that we've had construction projects out there. Some have gone very well, some have had some snags, but those are working their way through. You understand that we have new additions planned for both Smith and Elmdale. You know we have health clinics underway at 3 of our different school sites, and you know that we're retrofitting or renovating, if you will, 2 of our older schools. The need to always bring those older schools forward and then just stay ahead of the day-to-day maintenance and operation cost of the district. You know that the stadium at HAR-BER is coming along well. We've sure had a lot of rain, Jeff, and that's obviously that construction schedule was tight from the beginning, and so the pressure on that is just going to be accentuated based on what we've had. Mr. C's in the room, and I need for you to understand, as the construction planning documents have been completed at HAR-BER, we've come right back to Springdale High School with the idea of continuing to upgrade the facilities there, and you know the budgets for those projects, but we all need to be reminded of that. The Race to the Top grant, 11 different projects, is a phenomenal opportunity for our school, and probably at the heart of all that is the ability to continue to learn, extend, and expand the great work that's already in place. Our teams are working with some of the finest consultants in the nation today to help bring these school improvements forward. That's just going to make us better and better and better. So I think it's a pretty healthy agenda, but if there are things that we've obviously missed that's on your mind, we'll adjust it. Any thoughts, Jeff, about how to proceed? Or y'all can certainly call me or send me a note, whatever.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Hayes, you ready?
That is going to happen, Lord. This is the time of year that our district has traditionally made decisions regarding salary increases for the following year for classified staff and for the current year for certified staff. This year has been a little bit more of a challenge than a typical year in that we opened a junior high, and obviously there were quite a bit of staffing needs involved with that school. And then, as I've shared with you all year long, we've had challenges with our local tax receipts. However, in light of all that, the commitment that Dr. Rollins and of course you as a board have to our staff members in leading the state in the certified salary schedule prompts the recommendation before you tonight. The recommendation that the administration is bringing forward has been presented to both the certified and the classified personnel policies committees, and they have approved those unanimously. The recommendation is that the base of the certified salary schedule for this school year be adjusted by $680, and that would be effective this school year to retroactive back to the beginning of the year, and of course then it would carry forward into next year. The recommendation for classified staff members would be effective July 1st. The average increase for the certified staff members is 1.19%, and so that is what has been recommended to add to the classified salary schedules, and this is consistent with how we handled this in previous years. So I would be happy to address any questions you might have for me.
So Kelly, that's basically a 1.19% raise.
That's an average of 1.19% raise for our certified staff, yes.
And they're going to have, maybe they already had some increases in healthcare costs, or how does that fit into a?
The healthcare rates do not change until October to be effective in January.
Okay.
And so we do not know at this time what they will do.
But the expectation is some of this will offset maybe some negative answers on.
True. That's true. As our salary schedule is designed, certified salary schedule, the overwhelming majority of our certified staff members will receive an experience step, and that's around $680, and then coupled with this $680 that would go into their monthly check beginning next year would be around $100 a month to their pay.
Big question, what does this raise cost the district in the coming year? Do you have that figure?
I do. I tell you, I haven't looked at it in a few days. I can tell you this, that a salary increase of $100, because this is the number that sticks with me, of $100 costs the district $257,000. So I guess we would multiply that number by 6.8, and we would come up with somewhere around 1.4 million, something like that.
Okay. Any questions?
I'd like to make the motion then that we approve the administrative salary proposal for certified employees and also the classified employees on page 59 and 61.
Have a motion from Ms. McFettridge.
Second.
Second from Mr. Dodson. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly.
All of our employees will be very pleased with this action.
Thank you.
Jeff, would you like to stretch, or would you like to go for it? I have a vote for stretching.
Okay, I can stretch. Okay, take a 5 or 10 minute break here.
Jumping jacks, ready? Go.
Brain break, right?
Yeah, we need. Carol, how are you?
I'm doing well, Dr. Rollins.
Trying to get lunch prices approved. Then you can build a budget, can't you?
Yeah, I think so. Try to anyway. It's hard to estimate what food prices are going to do.
He's had a bad week here.
And all those new reps that apply seem to cost a little bit. This next year is going to be
No one would want to be my partner anyway.
say that. You're doing much better. You know, that, I think that's a real positive thing. And as long as you can give them a variety and give them, sometimes the year's really hard to have an action available.
Got some excellent fruit here tonight, which we don't normally do. This is great. So I guess the season's coming in.
But in the middle of winter, bananas or grapes or oranges, you throw some kiwi in there.
I like getting the kiwi.
It's sad though, but it takes a whole kiwi to be credible for it's, as a fourth cup fruit. That's a lot of kiwi.
Well, I'm proud of you. You're doing great. Okay, Clay, you ready?
You're just talking.
You're not causing trouble.
Nope, just talking.
He's always causing trouble. Board, I have several things tonight in the Division of Instruction section, beginning with the application to the Arkansas Migrant Education Program. Annually, the school must apply to be a part of the Arkansas Migrant Education Program through the Boston Mountain Educational Co-op, and I recommend that you approve this application as you find it in your packet.
So moved. Second.
Who's that?
I'm assuming that we
Was
need
that
board
Danny?
action, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Danny, motion by Danny, and second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you very much. The second item is to close the Archer LEA, and I'm going to talk about this. The Archer Learning Center students have produced some excellent student achievement data in recent years, and as do you, I take great pride in the success of that school and those students. However, the current accountability laws make it very difficult for Archer to receive a satisfactory mark, regardless of the increasing student achievement in literacy and mathematics. So specifically, it's the graduation rate at Archer that has continued to keep them in priority school status. A school that goes from the teens in proficiency and literacy to somewhere in the low 60% students proficient and advanced in 2 school years. That school may well be a priority for us, but it's really sad that that school can't get a mark or a label that represents the outstanding work that's been done there. And the work in mathematics has really been good as well. The graduation rate at Archer continues to increase. It can't keep pace with the way the AMO for graduation increases at Archer. And part of this is because of the size of the school. It's really, it's not a large high school like our others in terms of numbers of students. The graduation rate, and this is federal law, and it gets a little bit technical, and I'm trying to explain this to you so you understand but why Archer is so different than the other 2 high schools. But since Archer has 9th grade students, they have an additional year of jeopardy for those students dropping out. Our traditional high schools start in 10th grade, and so their graduation rate clock starts when students are in 10th grade, so they just have the jeopardy of 3 years of students dropping out. And I'm not saying that's an excuse. We have really great graduation rates at those schools because we work on them very hard. And it's difficult, especially for Archer, because of the design. That's where we send the students that have the most challenging circumstances in their lives, and we do really good work with those students while they're there. But having having talked about this, and we've researched it, the whole team, we've gone through it, and with Dr. Rollins as well, but it's my recommendation to you, as it is to Dr. Rollins, that the LEA be closed for Archer. The school will still function just as it does today. The staff will be there, the leadership will be there, the name will be there, the facility, but those students will be, instead, they'll be enrolled in their zoned schools, technically, instead of enrolled at Archer. And I believe that that's the right thing to do, and so I request that you approve the closing of the Archer LEA.
Would they'd start in 10th grade instead of 9th by going back?
Well, they would be, no. See, some students are there in the 8th grade and some are there in the 9th. They would just be enrolled in their home junior high school. They'd still be attending at Archer and receiving those services at Archer, but they'd be enrolled in that home school. Does that answer your question?
But the graduation rate starts with the 10th grade. If they've been, it doesn't matter how long they've been at the ALE, it starts at the 10th
That's
grade.
right,
Yeah.
when they get enrolled in that high school.
Okay.
Service to children doesn't change.
There's no change.
The
in
learning
service.
focus doesn't change.
No change.
The evaluation of the learning doesn't change. What changes is the LEA, which keeps them as a separate entity and penalizes them under the current Elementary and Secondary Education Act. LEA is not necessary for that process, and it really works against us rather than helping those kids.
That's exactly right. It doesn't change. This doesn't change. In addition to the things that you mentioned which are important to kids, it also doesn't change the funding. It doesn't change anything in a program like this except for the accountability piece. Now, we'll still be able to pull Archer's accountability to look at it and to have the appropriate accountability, but that will come from a district level. Certainly, the data that we pull for Archer so far has been really, really tremendous, and we want to keep pulling that and sharing that with you. So,
would they then graduate with their home school or with Archer?
With their home school. Oh, as far as the graduation ceremony, I couldn't say that. That's
I expect that will stay the same.
Yeah, I would as well.
I don't see no value in changing anything other than taking the yoke off the school that the separate local education agency number provides, and that's merely an accounting piece.
It really is an accounting piece. The current Archer students graduate with the home high school diploma anyway, right now, don't they, Dr. Rawls? That's what was my understanding. So everything in graduation could remain just as it is.
Is that the way we opened?
Yes.
And it was later that we asked for the
That's
separation?
true. We changed it a few years ago, and then the state changed its accountability system with the ESEA flexibility piece, which has put this graduation situation in such a light that it's almost impossible to overcome it, really.
That's right. Under No Child Left Behind Act of 2001, the better thing would have been to have an LEA. And after you opened your ALE, you did put it under its own LEA, and that was the right thing. And then the flexibility from ESEA, which is the same as No Child Left Behind, when the flexibility was approved, those things were reversed as far as what's in the best interest of us.
I've had numerous conversations with leaders at the state level, all the way to the commissioner's office.
Yes.
And I've asked, what possible benefit is it for us to continue to maintain a separate LEA? And they have advised me there is no benefit of any kind. And so if it's not a benefit and it works as a penalty to our service model and to our kids, I don't know why we would continue to do that given the new accountability system.
I move we approve the close of the LEA number for the Archer Learning Center.
I second that.
Motion by Danny, second by Kathy. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you for that. I appreciate your questions and your wanting to get an understanding of that piece and what it means. Number 3, for big audacious goals, we've been doing a lot of work. We're drafting a plan. We'll have it for you next month that outlines how we're going to report, the pieces we're going to report for big audacious goals from July through June of next school year. We want to give that to you next month so that you can know those pieces ahead of time and you can understand how the pieces fit together. For data for ACT and national merit and the benchmark and end of course, all those things we pretty well know when those come in, and so we thought we would go ahead and put them on a calendar so we could be real clear about when that was going to come out. There's some months, as you know, there's not new data, and so we'll share pieces of our strategic plan with you in a more in-depth way at that time. But I wanted to kind of give you a preview of coming attractions with big audacious goals, and that can be something that we that if you wanted to, we could talk about at the board work session.
So, Clay, what you're saying is it doesn't make sense to talk about that every month because there's not any updates to many pieces of it.
Right. And so in trying to wrap my mind around it, I kind of began to draft a calendar and thought, well, this would be really good information for you. And with Park being a new test next year, some of that'll be guesswork, but as far as all of the different ACT testing dates and those things, we're trying to plan it out just to be really clear what months we're going to talk about what pieces.
That's a good idea. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I do want to speak to big audacious goal number 3 and 4 tonight with Ms. Tischer moving from her, not being able to complete her assistant principal duties. We're looking at people that can fulfill those roles. She's been very successful this year with Big Audacious Goal 3 and 4. I know that y'all have been really pleased with that, as have we, and finding the correct person to continue those roles is a priority for us.
What, 3 and 4 are what?
AP scores, national merit, and recognitions. So those really important things that she's been working on. So I did want to tell you that. That's definitely something that's on our radar.
Clay, if you don't mind, if the board's like I am, I see intermittent publications in the local media about this group of kids have been named National Merit semifinalists, et cetera. Next month or 2 months later, we'll see another group and another group. Talk to us about that calendar, because I know the board's very interested in the predictions that we heard early on, and will we be able to fulfill those and so forth.
And that's one of the things that's one of the reasons that we did not have the calendar tonight. We wanted to get it right, but the semifinal, or the Miss Garrett, what is before semifinalists? That's not the first piece.
No, it's really like it's like a recognition.
The first piece comes out, and then a few months later, we have a shorter list of semifinalists, and then a few months later, we have the lists of finalists. Now, what we found was when you go to the National Merit website, they are very clear about the months that they announce those. Other districts and other entities are picking up on those some months later and announcing more semifinalists later or finalists later than we did. So that's what that is. It according to their website, it is not a trickle of information out. It's the initial list, then the semifinalists, and then the finalists. And so that's what we're going to capture or attempt to capture on that schedule. Does that make sense? I don't want to repeat, on to the next piece, School of Innovation. I don't want to repeat anything that Dr. Rollins said. I'm going to add a few things. So far as the teachers, we continue to do professional development with the teachers to prepare them to teach in this innovative environment. There's a lot of curriculum work that is going on, and those teachers are involved in that. I know I've told you before, we have Rose Colby, who has come from New Hampshire 2 different times. New Hampshire, the legislature did away with the Carnegie unit and moved all of the high schools in New Hampshire to competency-based learning 7 years ago. Rose has been a part of that work. She was a part of the legislative influence prior to that happening. She's been a part of the curriculum work since that has happened. So Rose has about a decade of experience of how to do this. And so far as we can tell, she's the best person. And she has been coming in and working with our teachers and the principal. And she's also been doing some work with the teachers at Archer as well for trying to apply competency-based learning at Archer as well. We've also been kind of daily working on the technology over there, the furniture, the transportation. There are a lot of moving parts to opening a new school, which is basically what we're doing. And traffic patterns with transportation, the possibility that students would go back to their home junior high school for an elective, and what does that transportation look like during the day, a one-to-one school, and just a lot of things going on. They're all coming forward really well, but I just wanted to kind of lift them up and let you know that we're still working very hard every day on the School of Innovation. Now, yes?
So we got 200 kids that will be 9th graders next year in this program.
They will be 8th graders next year.
Okay. Now, will we always have an 8th grade class in there?
Yes.
Well, I mean, so far, the plan is right now, yes, to have an 8th grade class there, yes.
So, do we have any, I'm going to ask you a question that would require you to see in the future, but do we look at starting out in the 8th grade with 200, 250, but probably maybe 175 or 150 graduating through that program?
We have looked at that, and that's one of the reasons why we went to the 200 number to begin with, and one of the reasons why we're seriously, considering having more students be in that program if their parents and their families are committed to that type of work, just for that type of attrition. We, as does every district, we have mobility in the district. This initially is not a program that we think students will just be able to come into in the 9th or 10th or 11th grade. So when you look at that, the survival rate and the attrition will be a...
So down the road, project enrollment of that school 750?
Yeah, maybe as many as 1,000. Here's another piece to keep in mind. So for one reason, we wanted the number to be up for the survival, the cohort survival. But for other reasons, as far as flexibility and being able to change the instructional program, should we find problems or we find better ways to do something, you need to have a smaller number of students and teachers so that you're able to respond and make those changes while the program is so small. So from two different directions, you have these forces or these drivers on what the enrollment cap should be. So, hope that addresses your concern.
Well, I want to make sure Dan understands that we're talking about adding 200 plus kids a year until we reach an enrollment of between 800 and 1,000 kids. Now, the downside of that, and the challenge that all of us have, is to find a facility. We're fine next year. So we just have a year to find or begin construction of a facility to serve this growing population. 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000. That's our goal. If we do that, then that satisfies the growth needs in our high school for years to come. You understand what I'm saying? This would become our 4th high school.
Will these folks be standalone with their own accountability, with their own number and stuff like that? Or will they go to the school that would?
Oh, I see. Same conversation about LEA.
Yeah.
We're not looking at a standalone LEA. That process just doesn't work for these innovative schools. The ALE, frankly, is about as innovative as it gets from the standpoint of personalized teaching and learning. And you heard an example of that tonight. But from the standpoint of the accountability, that needs to be weighed in the context of their overall graduating class to give these schools an opportunity to be proficient and advanced. So, no, we're not looking at a separate LEA for the high school.
Okay.
Correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
So you're kind of suggesting that over the next 5 years, our growth in the high schools will be...
Dr. Compton probably...
This will take care of the growth for the next 5 years.
It should take care of a major part of the growth. I don't think we will. The way I'm looking at this, it will relieve the growth in the existing traditional high schools. We just have to find a service model for the high school. Jones Center's been great. We're fine the first year. We might even be fine the second year. But beyond that, we need a game plan, and Dr. Compton's working very closely, leading our team. We hope to find a place for that to happen, or we do have monies built into our partnership funding plan to construct a new high school if we choose to do it. We've got the site. If that partnership money is approved, as we hope it will, we've asked for $22 million based on that formulaic growth process to help us with that. So those are options that we genuinely need. We just are trying to find the best plan, right, Doc? So if any of you have about a 250,000 square foot facility in your backyard, you need to be telling me that.
That's really all we need, is about a 250,000 square feet. So if y'all could help us find that.
Hardly any challenge at all.
Yeah, really. this growth we're talking about to need the fourth high school, and I believe some of the projection models said we might need that by as early as 2018 or 2019, for the full piece. That is, to some degree, including the numbers of students that we would expect to move into the district. To a larger degree, it's the numbers of students. Every class, as you go a grade smaller, it is larger. Those classes, the young classes have 1,600 and 1,700 students in them, and as they continue to grow up and the senior classes graduate, we need high school space in the very foreseeable future.
This is just a teachable moment. You've heard it many times. We need an high school facility. Board, help me fill in the blank. What other major facility do we need?
Pre-K.
A pre-K center, absolutely.
That's exactly right.
To serve how many classrooms, Kathy? 30 plus?
A bunch.
Several.
Okay.
So
I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
Jeff's not keeping me under control very well, is he? Tonight?
You're good.
We'll develop So on the School of Innovation journey, which started really over a year ago now, our initial application for School of Innovation was declined. Most all of them in the state were. We are now receiving a second round of technical assistance. We have until June 30 to resubmit those. Part of that process, and right now I feel like the assistant superintendent of iSchool. Those applications are a huge focus for us. We want those to be correct and to be perfect and to represent the school. One of the things we need to do to resubmit is we need you to approve the same resolution that you did a few months ago. It's before you there in the tan paper, and let me talk about it. The resolution says that you have seen the plan, which is the plan we've been sharing since really October. I think was the first time we brought it to you in a real developed way. And it says that you've read the superintendent's statement of assurances, which are page 2 and 3 of that packet. Now, after page 3 in that packet, you'll see a copy of the actual application that we turn in, and that's what we've been working on. And it might seem odd that we've been working on that so hard, but the plan for the school and what we want to do with students is really the same vision and the same plan that we've always had. We have received technical assistance about how the Department of Education would like that to look in their application. And so those are the changes that we've made. We have not been changing or substantially changing the plan for how that school would function and the services that it would provide. Just exactly how we describe it and the things that we speak to in the application. So I wanted you to understand that and to be comfortable with that. And I think I also put a copy of the executive briefing at your table again, which you've seen a number of times. It's got another revision date on it now. We've made some revisions in the last couple of weeks, and I certainly wanted you to have those. Those revisions revolved around additional and a deeper explanation of competency-based learning. So we will apply with 6 schools that will have identical applications. It'll be the 2 high schools and the 4 junior high schools. You'll see those there on the resolution on the first tan page. And so tonight I recommend that you approve that resolution that is before you.
I move we approve the resolution, I guess, to resubmit an application, or this application for an high school.
Have a motion by Danny and a second by Kevin. Comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
So I'm looking, and we got 2 high schools.
Yes.
Archer Learning Center. Then within that, we have academies. And within that, we've got subdivisions.
Yes.
Houses. And now the high school.
That's right.
Has anybody drawn a model of this to make sure that there's not any duplication of?
Well, there's
I don't want somebody to be working on 2 things at the same time that are the same thing. I mean,
I feel like we have a good enough model to understand that that's not going on.
and
We're not being
I don't
inefficient.
truly think that that's going to happen, but it just really kind of boggles my mind that you guys are handling all this, and thank you, and you're doing a great job.
Well, we appreciate that, and certainly it is the entire team that works on this. And Dr. Rollins gave me clearance again to pull his team together anytime I needed them. And last week, I think we met 4 days in a row. They were probably at some point wanting to stop reading emails from me, but we just kept coming together to meet about that. So hats off to them. Last piece
for me tonight is the Race to the Top update, and it is in your original packet. Dr. Jones and I last month attended a required convening in Los Angeles. It was about technical aspects of the grant. Additionally, you can see the progress was made in each of the projects as mentioned in that report, and so I wanted to be able to provide that to you and answer any questions you had about Race to the Top in the district. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Cleveland? Thank you, Clay. Good job.
Good evening. Sorry about that. Just a little taller than Clay, I guess. Okay, I have two parts to my presentation to you tonight. The first part has to do with the certified policies. The Certified Personnel Policy Committee and I met on numerous occasions to work through the potential policy revisions. The PPC, along with myself and Dr. Rollins certainly guiding the process with me in his office, decided to focus on any law changes that have taken place at the federal level or at the state level. And as you know, the legislature meets often, and now they meet every year, one in the fiscal session and one in primary session. So there have been numerous laws that have impacted what schools do, and we need to be able to focus on policy to make sure that we meet the law. So that's where we are, and that's the first bar that we tried to make sure that we hit. Does that make sense? Okay. There are really 13, I think there are 14 listed, but licensed personnel evaluations at the very bottom goes along with evaluation of principals, leads. Just wanted to make sure I clarified that point. I think I even said something to Dr. Rollins about 14, and so Dr. Rollins, I apologize for that. The PPC, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the process. There are many folks on the PPC. It's very prescribed, somebody from every building. So there are roughly 50 or so people upstairs that I deal with pretty much on a monthly basis. Great people that do great work. The PPC voted to have a policy committee, a small group, working group policy committee that would meet with me, and we went through each policy that we had on the certified side. Dr. Rollins provided me the opportunity to purchase the School Board Association model policies to use as a guide. The School Board Association does an excellent job. Ron Harder is the director or the leader in that division. Of course, they have Kristen Gould and some other attorneys who helped create those policies, or those model policies. And so what we did is we followed the model policy recommendations from the ASBA and tried to mesh them or mash them up with what we have to make sure we were in compliance. And there were several that rose to the top as far as needing some issues. And these are the policies that were in your packet, are the ones that we needed to address quickly, and we needed to address them with integrity. So that's what we did. I'd like to recommend to you to accept these policies as a package, Dr. Rollins. They've been vetted through the ASBA as far as the recommendations. There were a few slight revisions. I can go through each one of them with you if you like. Real quickly, professional staff contracts, we added the verbiage to meet Arkansas law and adding veterans in the application requirements. We didn't have the term veteran in there and what's required. Personnel staff salary schedule, we added verbiage to line up with the Arkansas Teacher Retirement System as far as 160 days being identified as a year. Does that make sense? That's kind of the process that we went through with each one. And again, the PPC was wonderful. They did a great job in helping me. We took one Friday, and I had 8 or 9 folks in there with me, and we literally went through each one. We distributed them out. We switched around. It's kind of like a classroom. I felt like I was teaching again. But we had a great time. It was hard work. We even worked through lunch. And I can't say enough about the members on that committee who helped us do this. I know this is your policy as a board, but they did a great job, and I want to commend them. Anyway, my recommendation, and if you have no questions, would be to accept them as a package. The two main things are TEST, which is the teacher evaluation system. It basically took on GCNE, it replaced our certified teacher evaluation system, which was very prescriptive. GCNEA through GCNH would be removed. It was a prescribed system that we have, and replaced with the teacher evaluation system prescribed by law. Make sense? The second one for principal evaluation system, which is LEADS, the Leadership Excellence and Development System. It removed the professional staff members' compulsory retirement and some of those other areas there, and we replaced it with the LEADS evaluation. Any questions? I know it's a whole lot, and there are many of them that you need to review. And
so you voted all these, created these?
Yes.
Basically.
If you go through
PPC and then you had legal changes to your.
Yes. What we did is anything that you see in yellow or red or that's been struck, I suppose, the amended version looks like this. So it's a good reduction, but an improvement in an East law. Next year, Dr. Rollins has provided me with guidance of, okay, now we've gotten the law situated, now we can work on some other areas. We'll only start with student side, and we'll also have to look at the classified personnel policies. This is a big animal, and this is our first good step. Can be, yes, Mr. Dodson.
So we need a motion to move forward, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion would be to accept.
I will make a motion to accept the revised school board policies as submitted, as a packet, altogether.
Second.
Motion by Randy, a second by Michelle. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will have a complete printed copy for you for the July work session, which will show everything as it'll be for FY15, or the next fiscal year. Is that okay? All right, I'll have everything ready for you. Number two, Dr. Rollins asked me to report to you on some various positions that are still open. A couple of the positions that are still open, it started with when Bryce Wagner retired from Southwest, created a position, an opening. Ms. Shannon Tischer was selected to take that position, as you know. When Ms. Tischer took the position, it left a position open at HAR-BER, and it also left open the position that she had recently taken and did such a good job of as college and career readiness coordinator. Ms. Garrett and I have been interviewing for that position. We are close to a recommendation for Dr. Rollins for him to evaluate and review and probably send us back and do a little bit more work and come back. As you know, we process things very heavily and do a good job at that before we bring them to you. But that position is still open. At HAR-BER, the selection's been made for Dr. Mark Osterly. I don't have a lot of information to share with you tonight about Dr. Mark Osterly, but he will join our team, and we will be able to bring him in front of you and really provide you with a good introduction. The other opening that we have is at Springdale High. When we opened the iSchool, that provided an opportunity for Mr. Rollins to go over there and had an opening at Springdale High. And we're still in the process of looking for a candidate. Mr. Jinks and his team are really vetting. We have numerous applicants, and he is going through the process of interviewing as we speak. And I don't believe, unless he's talked to Dr. Rollins, he hasn't talked to me yet about any particular top 3 candidates yet. So I think he's still deep in that process. Do you have any questions? There's plenty of work to do.
How many positions is this?
I'm sorry?
How many positions then do you have to fill? There's not a number on here. How many resignations and retirements do we have?
I think whenever I submitted that, we had 39, and we've had some more come through. So I think overall, we may have close to 60 that we'll be needing to replace. That's normal. I looked at some history, and that's about right for us. We're not opening up a great, big, huge new school, so it helps us not have to do so much this year. We did open the high school, or beginning to, as you know, but we're taking folks who are within the district already, and we're really reviewing the positions that they're vacating to see if they need to be rehired or not. We've done a really good job. I reported to Dr. Rollins the other day that we saved close to $1 million. We absorbed about 9 positions from the junior high. So we're really working hard to make sure. It sounds bad, it's not. We were overstaffed in some areas, and having the high school, we had good quality candidates that were going over there.
Will some of our staff work at the high school as well as teach at the other schools?
I don't believe so right now. That's not the plan. PE, possibly, some of the specialty areas, possibly.
Okay.
Mr. Dotson, I'm not real sure, but the core content for sure will be there all day. But it's a very exciting time with personnel. The principals are they're really talking to me, I'll say, about their personnel, and I'm really enjoying being able to go through this process. As you know, it's all new to me right now, but beginning July 1st, it shouldn't be new to me again. But this time of year, it is.
Yeah, you're only the new guy for
yeah.
maybe a year.
As Dr. Compton tells me occasionally, the honeymoon's almost over.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for allowing me to report to you tonight. And unless you have any questions, I'll retire to the back. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Rollins. My report begins on page 147 for you. I have one item that requires you to act tonight, and that's the first item that you'll see there. The other 2 items are really informational for you. You'll notice the memo that is from Carol Godfrey, who's here tonight, by the way, our Director of Food Service, dealing with an increase in school lunch prices. It's a complicated formula, but basically, the United States Department of Agriculture requires that we have the same rate. The rate that we get reimbursed for school lunches needs to be the same rate that we charge for our students that pay. And based on the amount of reimbursement that we get, we have to follow those rules. So that first paragraph there really defines that, and it is a regulation as part of USDA where we get reimbursement. You'll see down at the bottom, Carol has used a pricing formula to minimize, to the degree that we could, the lunch increase prices that we're recommending. And you can see that there are 6 levels there, and there are minor increases in most of them. You'll see a couple 10-cent increases and mainly 5-cent increases in there. And what we would ask of you tonight in the form of a motion would be that you would authorize the district to increase its lunch prices by the amounts that you see recommended in front of you. I might add too, Jeff, that this is pretty much standard operational procedure. We have to follow these rules at this time of the year. I think it's in June of every year. We bring this recommendation to you at this time.
So you have to follow it.
We do, but it requires a board vote to do that. I know.
No, what do you do?
I'll send your name into the government that you voted.
Letter worth you.
Is that a motion,
I would
Kevin?
make a motion that we adopt these price increases as mandated by the United States Department of Agriculture.
Thanks. Can I have a second?
Thanks.
Second.
Motion by Kevin, second by Michelle. Any comments?
Carol had a comment after sitting here with us this evening, or?
No, I don't think so. USDA does not want to support the paying students. And so they want us to charge the same amount for paying student meals as they reimburse us for the free students. So that's where we're gradually getting to over the past several years. We come to you every year with a rate increase. They don't want to go over 10 cents a year, but yet we want to eventually get where we're even on the amount we charge.
They reimburse us for the free and reduced lunches, or all lunches?
They reimburse us for all lunches, but it's a very minimal amount for the paying students. I think it's 22 cents for their lunch. For every student, we get $2.95 for a free meal. So, and we would get the same amount for a reduced student when you add the 40 cents that they pay out of pocket. Would be
So
$2.95.
how much further are we going to have to go before we plateau and hit that special?
I don't think it will ever
Never?
end, to be
Okay.
honest, because
Just curious. That's a good
USDA
question.
goes up on their reimbursement every year. They go up close to 10 cents. And so it's every year
So you're
we're
never gonna
kind
get
of
there.
climbing, trying to get there. And
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Just one thing, number one, I don't go to enough school board lunches, so I'll take the wrath of that. But when we do go to the lunches and we do get to go into the cafeterias in the back there to get trays, which I really enjoy, your staffs have always been extremely pleasant and courteous and how can I help you before we even get in there, so we see that with the kids. So just want to tell you, I appreciate that.
Thanks for saying that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support for that vote. The other two pieces of my report, every month over the summer here, I'd like to bring you just some statistics and data about the people that I work with in the division that we have. Tonight, you've got some information in front of you on nursing services. As you know, we have registered nurses in our schools. They do great work. You can see some of the data there, and I thought it'd be interesting just for you to take a look at that. You know, in kindergarten 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8, in those grades, we vision screened. We'll do 12,000 kids a year, and our nurses take care of that. You can see this year that resulted in 900 students that were required to go out and have their vision corrected. That's a lot of kids walking around our schools that we're not seeing properly, so that's a big deal. The same thing with hearing screening. Again, not nearly as difficult as vision to deal with. Those same grades, again, we assessed more than 12,000 kids, and we found 60 kids that really had some significant hearing problems. Many of you might remember this. This goes back a long way, the scoliosis screening. That is really a profound issue that if not caught when you're in grade 6, 7, 8, and 9, in that growth era, it can cause huge difficulties for you as you get older. So again, we do a number of screenings there. This past year, about 3,000 kids. You all know about the flu vaccine. We're really proud of that. I wish that number would increase. The more that we vaccinate, the better our attendance rate for faculty and for students gets to be. The nurses administer that 9,000 shots last year, and that's pretty good. Didn't know if you knew about number 5 that I included on the list, that Ronald McDonald Charity Mobile Dental Van that goes around. You can see that this past year they visited Parson Hills for several days, Bayari, Sonora Middle, and Sonora Elementary, Harp, Jones, Westwood, and Lee. And in terms of services provided, it amounted to more than $176,000 in free dental services, and that came from the Ronald McDonald Dental Van, and that's a pretty cool thing, too. You can see the amount of money that we get from social services. That's administered downstairs at the Washington Building by Beverly. Any of you who know her, she runs a great department down there. We had $18,000 in donations a year ago. We've worked a lot on getting AED, the defibrillators, not only at all athletic venues, but also at every school, and employees are trained to use the AED and with CPR. We have more than 660 employees trained to use those devices or to provide CPR, and we're proud of that too. In the last several months, we've taken in more than $285,000 under RMAC. That's the Arkansas Medicaid Reimbursement Program. Those funds, Kelly administers those, and that goes to pay for a lot of services, so we're really proud of what the nurses have done. I'd like to just, so that you, if you ever run into one, and Kathy Launder does a great job administering the program. Dr. Rollins has been enormously supportive to bring RNs into our district day in, day out. They do great work, and you just needed to know that. Next month, I'll bring you something on transportation, and we'll just give you some data so that you can see the work that we're doing.
Hey, Gary, on the
Jeff?
On that $285,000,
yes,
is that eventually supposed to cover a good portion of the cost, or those are the premiums we're getting from healthcare providers, right?
That generally is Medicaid reimbursement for all of those students and families that qualify for Medicaid.
Okay.
So that's money that comes back to us for services provided.
Yeah, so it goes directly against the cost of us providing those services.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're very good, Mr. Hayes is very good about utilizing those funds to help cover our own costs inside of our district. So that's really a kind of money in and money out, Jeff, for that. The last part of my presentation, we've already started our summer projects. Again, thanks to Kelly and Dr. Rollins, they've approved these things. And I think I've already told you about some of these things, but just a real quick hit. We're really working on the front of Central Junior High, from the tennis courts all the way down, irrigation systems, new planning. We really need to make that building look good, and we've got a really good plan. Our principal there, Tamiki, has been wonderful to work with. Over at Smith, we've already moved the playground. Mr. C., who's here tonight, has worked with us on getting that new media center design, so the playground is being moved. That's a very tight campus, very small, so we're trying to make sure that the kids don't lose their play area, but we have to go out to the east, the backside of that school, to build that media center, so we're moving the playground. That's already been moved. At Springdale High School, we've got some lighting work to do. Dr. Rollins has recommended that we kind of really upgrade the lighting at that building, and we are. We've got some roof work. At the Perry Professional Development Center, you may have seen the monument sign going up in honor of Jack and Janet Perry. That should be done soon. The parking area and the driveway in the back really needs to be chipped and sealed and redone. Over at Turnbow, we're moving some pre-K sections out because that building has gotten a little bit too big at more than 800. That's an awfully big building, and we're going to move some of our pre-Ks over to George Junior High. We've already met with Mr. Hoover. It's a little bit of an unusual mix, but I think the kids will love that once we get that done. In Jones, we've got some front work to do in Jones. Our front overhang came out a little bit too far. We've had a few trucks hit it, so we've got a little bit of work to do on the front of Jones. That'll look good when we're done. Parson Hills and Smith, we're going to redo the front entryway. Some work there to make it look better. Elmdale, you know there's a lot of work planned for Elmdale. Dr. Rollins already referenced some of that work, a new media center, a window wall treatment, new entryway and facade. We're going to try to get our new parking lot done, and that parking lot would be on the north side of the building. We need to integrate that work with the work that Baldwin Shell will do on the back side of the building for the media center. So that may not happen right away, but we're going to try to make sure we integrate the projects so we're not interfering with each other. Our maintenance department, with Junior Copeland, Jim Reed, and all the guys there, they do great work as well. We constantly are needing new equipment, which we break and which falls apart, and over the years, we're going to get some new pickup trucks and some new four-wheel mowers out there, because our mow cycle right now is every 5 days, and when you have rain like this, I'm sure your yards are like mine and like the rest of our campuses, it's really tough to keep up with that. So we're going to do that. And the auxiliary gym over at Springdale High School, I think it's time that we take that floor all the way down. In talking to Coach Stellick, who's here tonight, he might tell you that may be the best floor in the entire school district. And when we take that down and do it back up and paint that, it's going to look really good. So we've got some nice work to do there. We're excited about that.
Is that building air conditioned?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work to be done inside and outside in that facility, and Danny, it gets used every day, all the time.
Who uses that these days?
Pardon?
What is it used for?
Well, a good question. Wayne and I had this conversation today. Dr. Rollins asked me that same question.
Basketball and cheerleading.
The boys and girls basketball rotate in and out of there.
Okay.
The girls may be there after school for a week, and then they'll go to the big gym. The boys will rotate over there. It is used for wrestling practice. It's used for volleyball practice. It's a very, very highly used facility, and it gets regular PE, which is used there for certain sections during the daytime. It just gets a lot of usage.
It's a great gym.
Mm-hmm. It is a good old gym. You know, we've got some bleachers, Jeff, if you remember, all those old wooden bleachers which are still there. The windows and the blinds which are at a level that need to be changed. I'd really like to try and tackle that building and make it a lot better inside and outside.
I can see with what you're doing and more, I don't know, maybe lighting, that it turning out to be like a retro ballpark. I mean, it's a beautiful building on the inside, just...
And keep the old charm.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool old building. People tell me it used to be known as the girls' gym.
Girls' gym, yeah.
And that's kind of interesting. It certainly isn't anymore. It's used all of the time. But we've got some really good plans there, so we're starting to work there. And with Shannon Tischer, I just wanted to mention, she's got some really good ideas over at Southwest, and we're going to try to do some things there to kind of perk that building up a little bit too. So We're about our business over the summer, and we've got a lot of things going. I'll give you more information, including kind of a photo display when we gather up in July for our meeting.
Gary, if you'll kind of stand here with me, Board, I want to make sure with all the things that you're being introduced to, that you remember we have major additions and renovations going at Elmdale and Smith. We are working with construction managers, certainly our architect, to do the new media centers at Elmdale and Smith. And it's not just media centers, it's classroom additions as well. So these are major projects. So it's the architect, it's the construction manager. You've had that in front of you now for a couple of years, really. And we're ready to finalize those contracts with our CM firms. It's our intent to work with Flintco Construction Management Company on the T.G. Smith facility. It's our intention to work with Baldwin and Shell on the Elmdale Construction Media Center, Classroom Addition, Health Center,
And the front window.
and the front window wall. And at Westwood, and I hope you're seeing us trying to work with multiple CMs now to again, try to do good, positive work within the community. We will be in the process of at least attempting to negotiate a contract on the Westwood renovation with Milestone Construction. So rather than one CM, we're going to be working with three, and I think that will be very much appreciated by local business.
Well said.
Thank you.
No questions? Thank you very much, Jeff.
Gary.
Board, the first item that I have for you this evening is the building project's financial update. As Dr. Rollins just alluded to, this spreadsheet will be getting wider as we start some new projects here. Right now, we just have the two remaining projects. We are getting close to finalizing the tennis complex, so hope to make a final payout on that fairly quickly. HAR-BER Stadium is, we are making payouts each month on that. I think this past month it was around $725,000, so it is progressing along.
Are we going to use everything we thought we were going to use at HAR-BER for the,
Yes.
no savings there anywhere?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Hopefully, maybe before it's all said and done, but not at this point. Any other questions on that? The next item that I have for you, Board, is as you know, last year, the Arkansas Public School Choice legislation came into being in a different format than it had been previously. The deadline to file for school choice is June 1st, and as of June 1st, you can see the number of incoming and outgoing requests that we had for our school district. I have seen lists from some other school districts in this area, and it is starting to gain a little more movement than it has. At Bentonville, they must have had about 80 kids, I think, 80 kids that left to go to another district, and like 20 coming in, so they had a pretty substantial decrease. Rogers, I think they had a decrease of around, net decrease of around 25 kids. I have not seen Fayetteville's list, but.
Where they go?
Well,
More rural,
I'll tell you.
smaller rural high schools?
Well, I'll tell you, Rogers and Bentonville, they're losing a lot of students to Pea Ridge. Anyway, it's just.
The 27 we have, are they scattered?
The majority of those are going to Fayetteville. A number of, as you may know, our school boundaries, part of our school boundaries is in the Fayetteville city limits. And I did pick up that we have several with Fayetteville addresses that have requested to attend Fayetteville.
And that was pretty much expected when this legislation came through.
Any other questions on school choice? The next item that I have for you, Board, is the proposed, actually, I put in your packet information that was distributed to us from Beardsley Public Finance about the school election. As you know, the school election will be coming up in September. The process that begins, or the first thing that we have to do every year with regard to the school election, is ask the board to pass a proposed budget. And the proposed budget is for a year farther down the road than the year that we're currently facing. In other words, 14-15 is upon us, but this will be for the 15-16. So typically what I've done is I look at prior expenditures and determine the increase in each of these areas approximately and extrapolate those numbers forward. So I think you have it there on page 157. As you know, we are not asking for a millage increase of any kind at the September election, so it does state that the millage rate will remain the same that it is today, which is 40.5 mills. Then in addition to, so the proposed budget is what I need you to do tonight. We do have one board member's seat. The seat held by Mrs. McFetridge is up for re-election this fall, and that will be the only other item on the ballot. So, or the only item on the ballot, rather. So, if I could get someone to please make a motion to accept the proposed budget, but if you also have any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
I make a motion to accept the proposed budget.
A motion from Michelle. Second from Kathy. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries.
The final item that I have for you this evening is the May financials. If you'll recall, I have moaned and groaned about our local taxes all spring. And 1 month I'd say we're good, and the next month I'd say, well, we're not so good, and back and forth and back and forth. What I told you last month was if June collections come in like they did in June of last year, June of 13, that I thought we would do good and hit our budget. Well, that's what I'd hoped, but unfortunately our June collections are down over what they were this time last year. So we're not going to quite hit our budget, but we're going to be pretty close. I think I'm going to be at around on my 98%. So I'd hoped we would make it all the way, but it did not happen.
Is that just timing? Will that eventually come in?
That Dr. Rollins and I were having a conversation about this today, and I am on a mission to find out exactly why. And I have to believe it's kind of timing.
It has to be, yeah.
And so I told Dr. Rollins, I think that we're going to have a good year next year because people pay their taxes. It's just a matter of when they pay their taxes. So anyway, so that's kind of where we are. I was disappointed, but we almost got there.
June's not over yet.
Well, but they pay us early. They pay us early in the month. And
So when they pay late on their taxes and they have a penalty, do we get any of that penalty?
Yes, we did.
We do? I did not expect that. Okay, that's great.
So you can see our revenue for the month is, we caught up a little bit because of the good month we had in May that I had told you about last month. So we did make some progress. The expenditure report is looking good, right along the lines of last year. In fact, a little bit less in terms of percentage. So if you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to try to address those. Mr. Williams, if we'd like to make a motion to accept these.
Just a quick question on the expenses. It's year-to-date 80.51%.
Yes.
So that is indicating that we'll come in for the whole year under budget, right? We won't make up 20% in the month of June.
Well, actually, it will come up pretty close because And this gets a little messy, but all of our salaries are paid out of Fund 1, but all of our benefits are paid out of Fund 2, operating fund. If you'll recall, in the month of June, we pay out lots of payrolls because our teachers are paid in 12 installments. They begin in September and they get 3 in June. So we basically pay them out a quarter of what is due on their contract in the month of June. So in the month of June, we will have heavy expenses payroll-wise, and a lot of that will come out of the operating fund for the benefits. So I anticipate we'll be pretty close to our budget. But not, I do anticipate us being below 100%, sure do.
The road and check to the city of Springdale, $50,000.
Yes. Every month, we write a payment to the city of Springdale for our resource officers that are provided to the district.
I'll make a motion to accept our financial reports as presented.
Second.
Motion by Randy, second by Kevin. Any questions, comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
And just for your information, Board, in case you're asked, the salary increase that you voted tonight for certified staff, we will be running all of our regular payrolls, and then we will run that one at the end of the month, towards the end of the month. So that will be made toward the end of the month.
Thank you, Kelly. I think you did it. Okay. With that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.